Sometimes like all you want to do is run. But hear me out, hear me out. If all the things you never show, there are the things I want you to know. Secrets start in your heart to slow. But if you don't want to tell me now, I guess I'll never know. Losing almost all my energy. It's getting hard to talk to you, and I'm the only one who speaks. It's all the things you never show. There are the things I want to know. Secrets start in your heart to slow. But if you don't want to tell me now, I guess I'll never know. Here we go.
Okay, hey guys, welcome to the live. Here we go again. It's not going to be 7 hours long, I'll tell you that much. Yesterday, someone called it a sunny-thon. Anyways, of course, you guys, if you guys haven't hit that like and the share for Jack and Lily, please do. They've been missing since May 2nd of 2025. We're 8.5 months into, of course, Jack and Lily missing. And yeah, so please make sure that you hit the like and the share. And thank you guys all for being here. And so anyways, we yesterday, of course, we played part one of the Derwood, Dickwood, whatever conversation. And then we played some parts of the part. Hey, nurse, 6 months being a member. Thank you so much, nurse, for that. And thank you guys for everyone that is a member or has subscribed to the channel. But so yesterday, like I said, we played parts of number 2 and stuff like that. Today, I did have to go through it. And then I did have to edit out a few things from there. Stuff that was kind of like, most of it was irrelevant. And then there was a part where Darren was talking about Hayden a bit, but I felt like that part was something that just really didn't need to be out there. So I took that part out. Other than that, so I think I'd knocked out about 10 minutes or 12, 13 minutes of stuff that I just felt really should not be out there but anyways, so we will be playing that, or I will be playing that today and stuff like that. But still laughing about that 7-hour live. And thanks for everyone that stayed or left and came back to it and stuff like that. So nice to see you guys. Okay, so with that being said, I want to play just a couple clips from some of the news articles first. I just want to do a couple things first, and then I will play the rest of it. Now, I'm hearing that Darren there is on Hidden in the Fog on her TikTok channel. He's probably trying to get ahead of it in a sense. He probably watched the live and was like, well, I'm going to talk to Hidden in the Fog. So I don't care. Like, I don't watch her TikTok shit, and I actually just don't watch her channel. Actually, I forgot about her, to be honest with you, but I'm not a TikToker. So whatever. Anyways, don't care. Again, these conversations, just a reminder, they were like in July and I believe August. So basically 6-7 months ago type of idea, when these conversations happened. So it really became of, if Darren wanted to talk, I was going to let him talk. The second conversation, so basically, the first one came out, and then I remember, of course, that live, right? That means Charmaine were doing a live, and then Darren did like a 180. And next thing I know, he came back and he started talking about Belinda, or basically saying that it was 1000% clad. He had a source, Janie, blah, 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 which he ended up saying, and stuff like that. And he started going down the whole, believe Daniel and Janie stuff, and, his family's not talking. And, me and Charmaine were upset because of what he had said. What he wasn't saying allegedly or anything. He was calling it factual and stuff like that. So me and Charmaine, when we were talking about it, he got all pissy because basically I think he felt like he was being made to look like an idiot by us saying it like that. It's like, there's like, come on now, like get real. That's out in orbit and stuff like that. And so then he got all pissy at me because I wasn't going with his theme. And then, we ended up talking again a couple weeks later. I apologized if, thing is that it was to me upsetting to Belinda, right? Hi, Shy. Thanks. Thank you, Shy. I want to thank you back. Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks for all you do. Praying gesture emoji.
Thanks so much. Again, Jack and Lily, right? That's what we want answers for. We want to, just understand the truth of what happened to Jack and Lily. So thank you very much, Shai, and the appreciation to everyone else that's, of course, following the case. So we were upset because, like, how could you say that? And yet, to give Belinda this hope or whatever. Now, obviously, if it was true, if there was some truth to this, everyone wants that to be true. But it was the fact that he was coming out saying it was factual. And I just felt like it was upsetting. Chelsea, I remember in chat saying that her mom, she didn't want her mom to see it. I basically said that, you know what, your mom is a freaking warrior, type of thing. Belinda, from the get-go, I can't say enough about this lady. To be put through the ringer like she has throughout all these months, and to keep, being a voice for Jack and Lily through all of the BS and just wanting answers about Jack and Lily. And she's been a warrior, like, meaning to be in those shoes and then to have to deal with the internet and all that. To me, that's a warrior. Like, for someone to literally, kind of like cutting through the water there and still going forward, knowing that she's had ups and downs this entire time, just wanting answers for Jack and Lily. So I can't say enough about Belinda. To me, she is a warrior. I would never want to be in these shoes or any of the family members that truly want answers for Jack and Lily. But Belinda has been there. Daniel kind of pissed her off by acting like he was the only one doing everything, of course. And then Belinda was like, whoa, that is not true. And then she's like been vocally, of course, doing lives here and there throughout the time, knowing her and stuff. So I always want to, give kudos to Belinda for all this lady has been through during the search for answers for Jack and Lily. So I want to give her my biggest love and hugs. And I hope you guys feel, of course, the same way, because it's a heartbreaking case. And there's been a lot of drama, a lot of stuff going on with this case, but the main focus always is Jack and Lily. Sometimes I feel like definitely it gets lost in the mix of the drama. And when we're all here for that same reason of finding answers for Jack and Lily, right? Not being at wars and stuff like that, but just for the true genuineness of being here to find the answers. But unfortunately, it's 8.5 months, still no answers. But, different information has come out recently, of course, and some unredacted things again, and some articles and stuff like that. And, so obviously it picks up momentum again and stuff, even more so, which keeps cases out there. So anyways, want to say to Belinda personally, I love you. Your strength and, what you've gone through and been going through is admirable, to say the least, for your fight and quest for Jack and Lily. And I also want to say a big thank you as well, to Haley, Malaya's stepsister, who's also been fighting for answers for Jack and Lily. And although she's not as out there, of course, as Belinda and stuff like that, she has been. And I give kudos to all the family members that do want to speak and be voices for Jack and Lily, because it's about 2 missing children. And that's just the point of all this. So again, back to the conversations, right? 6-7 months ago, pretty much. And this will be conversation number 2. I'll be playing soon enough, not quite yet, and stuff like that. So I remember that. And you catch more bees with honey than you do with vinegar. So although I didn't agree, of course, there's always that bit of hope that possibly Darren's stuff could be true. But sometimes you just let them speak and, go along with whatever it is that they're saying, in a sense, and let them put out their own thoughts and stuff. And that's pretty much what I was letting Darren do. Simple as that. It wasn't to sit there and, like I said, I never do anything that's disingenuous. But I also know that I'm not stupid, and you just let someone speak when they need to speak. That's the whole point, is you're just trying to find answers for Jack and Lily. And some people have their own tactics on how they do things, but I always go in it with the genuineness of it all, but I'm not stupid enough to realize that you let someone also talk when they want to talk. And why not? We're looking for answers for Jack and Lily. But just always remember that these conversations were back in July and August and stuff like that. But anyways, thank you guys again all for being here. If you haven't hit that like and the share, please do, for Jack and Lily. And yeah. Bless you, Sunny, for being there for Belinda all the way. You're such a warrior yourself. We love Belinda and bring Jack and Lily home. Bless this community. Yeah, see, words of kindness and sweetness. Thanks, Wendy, on there. Sorry, and I'm kind of behind here. So let me just kind of scroll down a bit. Sorry, guys. Yeah. Thank you guys again, though, for being here. Okay. So I just want to play a couple quick clips from, which I'm sure most of you have seen already. So stop. Whoops. Let's see. Jack and Lily. No, that's my own. Oh, 1 second. I think I hit my second here. I have something playing. Oh, it's this. My bad. Let's see here. Missing. Okay, let's play this one here. We'll make that bigger.
Sealed court documents in Lily and Jack Sullivan's missing persons case are raising questions about the relationship between the children's mother, Malaya Brooks Murray, and stepfather, Daniel Martell. Filed to support search warrant applications for the case, the documents lay out Brooks Murray's and Martell's responses to investigators' questions. When asked if Martell was ever physically abusive in their relationship, Brooks Murray said he would, quote, try to block her, hold her down, and once pushed her. She said he would also take her phone from her when she tried to call her mom, which would sometimes be physical and hurt. Brooks Murray declined Global News' request for comment.
Have you ever tried to block Malaya, hold her down, or push her?
No, all those allegations are false. And as I said, it was just to paint me in a bad light. That's basically why there's all of those allegations of abuse came out. I never physically abused Malaya.
I'll stop that there for 1 second. and I want to bring up image file. Is it this one? Let's see. No, this one. Okay. Daniel Martell. No violence ever. Malaya used to hit me. The victim, right? Don't forget, you guys, in all of this, Daniel is a victim of circumstance, a victim of his own BS, to be honest with you. So Daniel, of course, will deny everything, right? Because everybody else is at fault. It's never him. He blames everything. He tries to, twist it to other people all the time, but no violence ever. Malaya used to hit me, of course. Anyways, take that back down. Oh, and just up there as well, it says, so Daniel, again, he doesn't remember his own BS. So he says that the fence was done on May 2nd, but everyone knows from the, drone shots, whatever, helicopter shots, that the fence was not done. Okay, there wasn't even a freaking gate on that fence, and everyone knows that that whole fence was dilapidated. And so obviously, again, Daniel doesn't remember. I don't know if it's the drugs, is just constant BS, but you cannot believe things that Daniel said. So because Daniel has so many mistruths and BS and lies, that when he is, say, telling the truth about stuff, well, of course you can't believe him because you're too busy remembering all the lies and mistruths. So how can you believe when he is trying to tell the truth about certain things, right? And you guys remember when he said that dogs were brought in because of the public outcry. Remember, he was really upset about that because he wasn't told that the dogs were coming in, and he's like, well, I'm under the, or what did he say exactly? Something like, well, I should release everything I have. Basically, it's like, dude, haven't you done enough freaking damage already at this point? Like, what else could you possibly release to us? I mean, I guess there is probably more, but at this point, the damage control that, he did it to himself, right? Like, he's literally taking himself from someone that's from the start portrayed like he was looking for Jack and Lily, go to the ends of the earth, almost got impaled by rocks and branches and almost died a couple, 2 or 3 times basically throughout this case, in the quest for answers and search for Jack and Lily. Again, and now just remember, this is speculation, allegedly. We don't know what happened to Jack and Lily, but what's for certain is Daniel is full of shit. He's done it to himself this entire time. You can watch the whole 8.5 months of how Daniel has been from the beginning to now. And again, the stories change forever and a day. The timeline kind of changes throughout it all. Again, it's what do you believe anymore when it comes to this case? Well, you believe that Jack and Lily are gone and missing, and stuff like that. But anyways, no violence ever. Malaya used to hit me. Poor victim. Daniel, if you're watching, I'm so sorry you're a victim in all of this. I really am. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyways, we'll take that down. Hit back play on that one.
Martell says he approved of these redactions being lifted, adding not much has changed when it comes to his public reputation.
I've been, trying to keep the public up to date as much as possible. My image hasn't changed at all. It was always Daniel's evil, Daniel's a monster, and with that painted narrative, the public automatically will just jump to the belief of guilt.
He says he provided his DNA to run forensics on Lily's blanket, which was found in the woods by family members on May 2nd.
They didn't need a warrant to have my DNA, so I was willing to do it. I watched them sign on the consent form, no criminal involvement in the case of Lily and Jack. So it was nice to see that, that box checked for no criminal involvement. I signed my name on the consent sheet.
The disappearance of the Sullivan siblings is still being treated as a missing persons investigation, despite the involvement of major crimes.
But when they do have a suspect and they dive into investigating that suspect or group of individuals, then it will pivot to a criminal investigation at that point.
Ella MacDonald, Global News, Lansdowne Station, Nova
Okay, so so they want your DNA, but there's a box somewhere that says no criminal involvement. Um, so let's start off with that quickly. The person who painted himself as a monster is himself. Let's get real on this one, Daniel. Okay, because you're the one. I've always used your guys' own words against you. Right? I mean, you guys have said things between you and Janie and stuff like that. And I always use your own words. But in Daniel's case, Daniel has literally made himself look like one of the biggest pieces of shits in Canadian history. And I really, truly hope that one day that there's like the fucking dumbest, like, criminal out there award, because to me, if Daniel does ever get charged, in my opinion, I do hope that there's an award for one of the dumbest fuckers in the whole wide world here. Well, at least in Canada. But anyways, so Daniel, he's painted himself to be the evil monster. Most of you guys have seen those texts that between him and Taylor, about his sadistic ways, and like the bruising that was truly on her arm, yeah, so Daniel, you painted yourself to be the evil monster, all by your own work. Okay, nobody had to assist you or help you. You did it all by yourself, and that's exactly what's happened. Is that Daniel, from the get-go to now, has literally twisted the stories around. He's contradicted himself so many times. And about the blanket, about the different things. And we'll come back to that part or whatever. But yeah, so the bottom line with Daniel is that how can you believe any truth? Because he's too busy. The minute he opens his mouth, it's like diarrhea spewing out of it, and you don't even know what to believe is true anymore. But anyways, as for checking this box about no criminal activity, well, I believe Shenanigans, she had put this RCMP document, and I think most people were laughing their asses off when he said that. So first of all, they can get your DNA regardless, right? It's like I was watching a documentary the other day, and they already had the person's DNA from like a cigarette butt type of idea. But then they did get him to take swabs and whatever and ask for the DNA and do it like that way. That way it's documented and on paper and everything. So it's probably not like they didn't already have his DNA. But to sit there and say that, hey, but there's no criminal involvement. So you're telling me that they're asking you for your DNA, but you're signing this paper that somehow has this magical box that says that there's no criminal involvement on your side, but there is no box. I mean, like I said, Shanann put the RCMP thing about the DNA. She's like, where's the box? Any box there? So I'd like to see a screenshot of that one, Daniel. If you can supply that, that would be great. But anyways, you guys, so that was that particular one. Now that was Nova Scotia. And then the other one that I wanted to play, do I have it? Jeez. Where did I put that one? No, that's Globe and Mail. That's Globe and Mail. Oh, this one here, just quickly. Here it is. Stop screen share. Present. And again, if you guys are watching this right now, please hit the like and the share for Jack and Lily. Keep their names out there. Let's be their voices. Obviously keep momentum and that going, with the case. Obviously, we know that RCMP, have to have, whatever they need from this case for the actions that are going to, say, come forward. So they're obviously looking for certain information still regardless, right? They've been very loose about talking about, should they need this for in case this becomes a criminal case and stuff like that. I think most of us, have brains and can kind of read between the lines that although it's a missing persons case, that what they're saying to the public and what they do, kind of like textbook 101, and what's actually happening and what they think behind the scenes are two different things. Okay, so this one is, who is this one? CBC News Nova Scotia on this one.
In the case of missing children, Lily and Jack Sullivan provide a
that low?
closer look at the relationship between their mother and stepfather. The latest details come from lifted redactions CBC and other media outlets have been fighting for in the case. The documents include an affidavit filed by RCMP that explains the investigation to date. Malaya Brooks Murray and her boyfriend Daniel Martell were together for about 3 years before Jack and Lily disappeared on May 2nd. All of them lived in the Lansdowne trailer where the children were last seen. According to the documents, Martell told police they'd been fighting about money. His mother also referenced financial difficulties. The new records disclosed that in an RCMP interview, Brooks Murray said Martell would try to block her, hold her down, and once he pushed her. She said he would also take her phone from her when she tried to call her mom, which would sometimes be physical and hurt. Martell provides a different account. He told police their relationship was good and they had ups and downs like any other couple. He said they would yell at each other when they were fighting, but there was no physical violence in their relationship. RCMP Staff Sergeant Rob McCammon confirmed the nature of their relationship at the time of the children's disappearance is part of the investigation. Are any of the children's family members considered suspects in this case?
I wouldn't say anybody's a suspect. Again, we continue to gather information and whatever evidence that we are able to find, and we'll make our decisions based on that. But we are not in a position to really comment on suspects or anything like that at this time.
The case is still being investigated under the Missing Persons Act and has not moved to a criminal investigation. But in new submissions, the Crown noted that while there is currently no reasonable grounds to believe a crime has taken place, it could become criminal.
When they state that there are no reasonable grounds for a criminal offense, what that really says to me is that there's currently not enough evidence to make an arrest for a crime, but a crime is not obviously being ruled out. It's a very important linguistic distinction.
The documents also say RCMP are using technology-based investigative techniques which may provide information to support criminality and help find Lily and Jack. Angela McIver, CBC News, Halifax. Missing children.
Okay. Oh, that was Shenanigans. Hi, Shenanigans. Shenanigans gifted 5 memberships. Let me just quickly take a look at that. 1 second. Is my thing caught up? There it is. Susie Q Baby received one. And let's see, J4A Shy 6649. And Susan Travers received one as well. So let's see here. So that was 5. Did I get everybody? Robin, Susan, Shy, J4A, and Susie Q Baby. Shanann, thank you very much. And you guys, please, if you're in the chat, give appreciation there to Shenanigans. I always like gifted memberships because they're like a pay it forward to somebody else. I mean, yes, of course, it helps out the channel, but it's the paying it forward part like that. So much appreciated, Shenanigans on there. Appreciate that. So it's going to probably, I think, go off 2 more times, I think, because I've heard it 3 times. Now, let's see here. So kind of like what that, whatever his name was, sorry, said at the end there, again, missing persons, but don't be, of course, fooled that, this definitely couldn't turn into criminal. And even when Rob McCammon there was answering about suspects, again, this is stuff that they have to say it like that, right? Like that's what they have to say. It's like their textbook stuff of how they talk. So anyways, I just wanted to play those. And you said, I really think the RCMP actually talking more. No, it's directly related to all the eyes behind on this case. Thank you to all creators. Thanks, Sky Painter, for all that. Now, again, my personal feelings, like I've said, and this is in my opinion, is that I truly believe that all the circumstances from basically, I guess it would be, was it Lily's birthday party, like April towards the end of, or what is what was that one? About 2 weeks prior to the children's disappearance. Was that Lily's birthday? But anyways, you know, Malaya apparently had stayed there for a couple nights at Grandma Patty's. But my point is that I believe that you got drugs, you got financial going on, you got a jealous, narcissistic personality, in my opinion, to go with that. And basically, it's kind of like everything's unpacking. Malaya obviously trying to leave Daniel and stuff like that. And I truly believe that that Daniel, when Malaya left him the day after, was pissed. He was pissed that Malaya actually left him high and dry to deal with everything, in a sense. And I believe that he was pissed. And then Daniel said to the Globe and Mail, she's trying to blame everything on me so she doesn't get in trouble. And I think, again, that's just one of Daniel's tactics, that Daniel this whole time has tried to divert, even in about the violence, that, hey, you know what? I washed my hands. Nope, I got nothing to do with that. Our life was, good. We had regular arguments here and there and stuff like that. In Daniel's reality, in Daniel's world, whether he truly believes himself or not, I think Daniel's under the illusion that, he's trying to portray this whole better image of himself, of the situation. Of course, justify black eyes, CPS, acting like he's doing the godly work for Jack and Lily, basically. And I remember, again, he was more laser focused on his relationship with Malaya than it seemed about Jack and Lily when they disappeared. And to me, in my personal opinion, I think that's because he absolutely already knew what happened to Jack and Lily. And he was more concerned about the fact that Malaya left his ass. And then it almost reminds me of that when, the whole pink blanket stuff, right? So when Malaya left Daniel, then of course Daniel's not in control anymore. He doesn't know what the heck Malaya is going to be saying to her family, or anyone, right? Daniel instantly goes into projecting Malaya. Haley had involvement of planting the blanket, when probably the truth is that he was probably trying to get ahead of the game, as always. Doesn't know exactly what Malaya is saying to anyone. Malaya probably said something perhaps about the blanket, so Daniel wanted to get ahead of that and basically direct it towards Haley and her family. And that's what Daniel has been doing this whole time. And I think that's his ego being bruised there because Malaya left his ass. And, obviously to me, it's one of those things is that, she put herself in this situation. I'm sure it was a very toxic relationship, to say the least. And I kind of just feel like, you have this, mother that worked one job for 6 months when she was 15, that she continuously picks the wrong people for her. And I can see from both sides, Daniel's and Malaya's, that you got, Yappy Janie over there with her angry bird voice, and the way that even Earl was talking with Tent. You can see these, you just feel, you can just almost hear it in your ear. Daniel, why are you putting that blanket in the garbage? Didn't I tell you? On type of thing. And then from Malaya's side, obviously, we know that her dad definitely has some, criminal history and stuff there, being raised by Patty as well. So an unstable environment, definitely, for Malaya. And to me, you are a product of your environment in a lot of ways, right? So to me, Daniel doesn't fall far from the apple tree of his mother and perhaps his father. I couldn't tell you because, obviously we've heard voice clips from Janie, and it's almost like you have ADHD listening to it and shit like that. Cheryl, 2 months. Justice is coming for Jack and Lily. Absolutely. It will. It will, Cheryl. And thank you for being a member for 2 months. I guess, did that just change? Because it was only yesterday that it said that you became the member again. So it's kind of one of those things, being in an abusive relationship, I can definitely understand controlling narcissistic tendencies and the things that sometimes females do in the sake of men. We're just two different type of brains than men. Women are definitely wired differently. Men, they're wired more like in one box, more so most men. And so I can understand that, Malaya made her choices, and that kind of is the bottom line for me, is that Malaya made her choices. She chose to stay knowing, say, Daniel was doing math, according to Malaya herself. She chose to stay knowing all this was going on. So for Malaya, I'm sure in a lot of ways, lots of times, even in my very, very abusive relationship, it's like you justify their shit, you forgive. And, it's almost like becomes like a norm, right? So I can understand that, Daniel probably doesn't see him holding Malaya down as violence. Malaya probably just thinks it's a normal routine over there. But bottom line is, these two children disappeared underneath their care. And Malaya comes across, of lazy, rides off of relationships. Her grandma Patty. I know Darren said this in his, and I've said this as well. It's kind of like when people are a certain age, but they really have the intelligence of a youth still. And, they're not the brightest bulbs, definitely in the tree. But it's like when people are like 27, 33, and they act like they're like 15, 16 years old still. Like they got the mentality of that type of thinking and stuff like that. But I really think that regardless of all that, whatever issues Daniel and Malaya have, I don't care. Like, meaning, if two children weren't involved, I'd be a lot more sympathetic and empathetic to, these type of situations. But two children are missing, and we've watched nothing but a bunch of BS. But people are telling the truth, right? The truth just comes organically and naturally. But we've watched inconsistencies, BS, things that don't make sense, retracting of information, adding information. And yeah, it's a case in Canada that definitely takes the tops for the biggest bunch of BS, especially from a stepfather, and to watch the mother's actions as well. I don't honestly know where Malaya plays her role, in my opinion, into all this. Like, meaning, my eyes, like, in my heart of hearts, I just feel like if something happened on that property, that all three of them know. And to me, Daniel, because he's so full of BS, sometimes you wonder, okay, are you doing this because you're protecting Malaya? But then you keep adding Malaya, saying that she had nothing to do with it. And then you say she has something to do with it. Like, he's such a liar. He's such a liar. But bottom line is, both of these parents, right, or stepdad, or whatever you want to call them, but the mother especially, the actions, and all that stuff. It's just, as a mother myself, I get so angry at what we're witnessing in this case. It is just a bunch of BS, and I truly hope that answers come for Jack and Lily. Anyways, so with that being said, I just wanted to share one more thing, and then we'll get to that convo. Okay, and image file. I think it was just this one that I wanted to share. So, again, just Daniel, his words, it's I always believe that the closest to the truth is at the beginning of any case, when people are talking, and stuff like that. Now, Daniel, besides this screenshot, he had said multiple times that I have everything the kids own and all Malaya's belongings as well. Now, I think it was about 5 or 6 bags, that were dropped off. And, granted, most of them were the kids, but there was like 1 or 2 bags that were Malaya's, like with all her clothes and stuff like that. But then Daniel, as this timeline and has moved on throughout this case, Daniel has tried to convince us that, again, remember, Daniel's pissed at Malaya for what she did. And what she did is leave him, right? Totally, like I said, Daniel was losing control at this point. And I believe, like I said, this case, it has all those factors of drugs, financial, jealousy, all that stuff going on. That's why I believe that the children disappearing had everything to do with what was, leading up to that particular night. In my opinion, perhaps, yeah, Daniel was maybe doing drugs, was freaking pissed off. A couple weeks before that, he finds out that his other 2 kids are moving away, with his ex there, Christy. So I feel like there's a lot of anger, and that Daniel, of course, being that person that, but I did everything for them. And I remember talking with someone today as well. And, if you picture like Daniel, kind of like almost like sitting in a rocker chair and being like, but I did everything for them. I mean, that unappreciative bitch, she left me and I did everything for them, right? Maybe, again, it's a telltale sign of Daniel lost his shit, all this shit was exploding around him, financial issues, Malaya wanting to leave his ass and stuff like that, and took it out on Jack and Lily, perhaps, right? So that's kind of what I feel like kind of happened. And then Malaya left him because I believe, regardless, that whatever role Malaya, say, perhaps knows in all of this, is that she knows that Daniel did something, or she was part with him and left him, because that's probably why she couldn't even stand to look at him, that next day when the press conference happened and stuff like that. So I don't think Malaya, is personally responsible for Jack and Lily. But I feel like Jack and Lily are deceased. And it's because of perhaps Daniel's rage, and losing control of everything, just everything blowing up in his face, and he did everything, right? He did everything for Jack and Lily. How dare she leave me, right? And I feel like him placing the blame now on, like, Daniel kept trying, right? As much as Daniel was putting Malaya down, he kept trying to exclude her as being responsible for anything to do with, Jack and Lily or anything like that, right? He just kept trying to exclude the fact that she wasn't part of them being hidden, that Cindy was responsible, her grandma Patty, and all that stuff, that he was trying to project that Cindy has something over Malaya's head, when really I believe it's Daniel that was putting this over Malaya's head. And because, again, he was more super focused on his relationship with Malaya, he ended up trying to take Malaya out of it, in a sense, but, place the blame to her family, and Haley especially, Cindy. And then, things started changing, obviously, to all of a sudden this vehicle comes and, stuff like that. And again, that's how I personally see this myself. Whatever your opinion is your opinion on that stuff. And then, we all know that these text messages to Charmaine from, towards the beginning of the case as well, everything was so negative about Malaya. Everything was about what he did, how he basically changed the diapers, Suki, got them from being off their Suki's toilet train, everything. Daniel was the hero and Malaya was the zero. And yet he always tried to say that, I'm not being negative towards Malaya. I love her. It's a strange fucking kind of love, buddy. But I never lie. That's just a good one because that's just not me. Yes, it is you. You're a pathological liar. In my personal opinion, I say the truth even if it hurts. I'm sorry to say this, but I live in reality and reality is what it is. Well, I live in reality too. And the reality that I see is someone that's full of shit, that constantly deflects everything away from himself. Like when you look at this case, you have to realize, right? Anyone that's followed this case from the start can verify that Daniel has always, tried to direct everything to everyone else but himself. He even lied about the car keys, in that bathroom photo, with some sort of plasma letter and tried to say that they were Haley's. Right. But yet Haley was the one that gave me the photo. You don't think she would recognize her own damn keys? Every chance Daniel gets, he tries to blame Haley for planting the blanket, and which we know is ridiculous, right? I mean, the reason why he was freaking called in, as you said. Thank you, Wendy.
Wendy's 48.94 super chat. $5 Canadian. You're awesome. Thank you. Bless you, Sonny. I've missed you so much.
Thank you, Wendy. I bless you as well. And again, yes, I know I haven't been doing a lot of lives and everything lately and stuff like that. Now it's like a bonus around here. It's like 2 on my days off. Okay. But anyways, thank you so much for that, Wendy. And I actually, so right. So my reality is that it is what it is. Daniel says that he never lies, even if it hurts. I call bullshit. He's tried to blame everything again on Haley, right? With everything. And again, I think that this is one of those moves where it's like he's not directing it specifically at Malaya, even though he has in messages. So meaning again, there's no truth there. Because Daniel sits there and says Malaya had nothing to do with it on like news interviews and that. And then yet we still have screenshots of Daniel saying that Malaya and Cindy, he knows exactly, that they had something to do with this. So, so that's reality, Daniel, is that you're inconsistent. You're full of BS all the time. And no one can really believe a word that comes out of your mouth, even if you are telling the truth at certain points. But it's just like I said, this is like to me a sick, twisted love. I think Daniel, I don't know, like I said, to me, he's just, even looking at him, I just want to vomit, to be honest with you. Just knowing what he's portrayed this entire 8.5 months, knowing that 2 children are missing, and we have to deal with this constant BS and shit out of people that are trying to find out what happened to Jack and Lily. Janie and Daniel have cared more about their basically egos and reputation, about how they look in the case, rather than focusing on Jack and Lily. I mean, we can say Netflix deal jokes. We can say KFC bucket jokes. We can sit there and say a stapler joke with Daniel, because to me, this is a joke, to him. He's trying to portray his innocence. He's out there trying to get us to believe all this stuff. And to me, this is where RCMP, again, they're not oblivious to what's going on here. The whole blanket thing, obviously, like was said in there, he was called in, the forensics came back, and he was called in because of the blanket, right? So, so Daniel can sit there and try to fool people all he wants online, but he's not fooling the RCMP, and the RCMP are not fools to all this stuff. I mean, he makes it easy. He makes it so easy that his lies and his BS catches up with them. Like, I just don't think that he realizes just what what he looks like how he's portrayed himself, you know. And for the believers of Daniel and whatever and stuff like that, like I said yesterday, you know, take away Jack and Lily and all of this, you're still a douchebag, dude. You know, so for anyone that actually wants to sit there and stand behind you, you know, your freaking neighbors don't like you. Who really likes you? Remember Jordan Guess, I guess, you know, your only friend, pretty much, you know, and it's like, so I think that says a lot. But Daniel's trying to portray, you know, I'm just the good guy here. I just took care of Jack and Lily, and, you know, Malaya basically did nothing but sit on her phone all day, you know, and, but between the two of them, though, like, where's the truth in all of this for Jack and Lily? So that's the joke of all of this, which is disgusting. 2 children are missing, and this is the BS that the public gets to see. So I'm glad that some of those unredactions came out about, you know, so that the public in the news that doesn't watch true crime, you know, has more insight into the case about, you know, holding Malaya down. Now, Malaya told me, remember in Messenger, about Daniel pushing her up against the wall, you know, and maybe Malaya minimizes, you know, that as not abuse in a sense, or, you know, again, versus say maybe getting a smack in the face. I don't know. But bottom line is that to watch how this has transpired is just ridiculous. And the person that's made the biggest joke of all this is Daniel himself, with his inconsistencies and BS, you know. And of course, then Darren came along, you know, and at first said he was being neutral, like trying to get information, and then next thing you know, he basically believes Janie and Daniel, and that coming to find out almost what they're saying is truthful and stuff like that. And then it gets into this whole hidden thing and that Malaya. So again, I see this as that Daniel's trying to divert from the truth. He's pissed off about Malaya leaving his ass. And then he's trying to divert it now to Malaya's family. Point the fingers this way. Malaya, I'm warning you. You say shit, you're going to fucking down with what I know, you know, so you better shut the fuck up, you know. And then he's twisting it to, oh, Malaya has nothing to do with it, you know, but it's her family all around her that exactly knows and has taken these children and stuff like that. Yeah, whatever. BS. Okay, so with that being said, again, thank you guys for being here. If you haven't hit that like and the share for Jack and Lily, please do. So again, preface to the audio that you're about to listen to, it was like, I think this one was in August of 2025. And so keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. You know, just keep that in mind that this is from said then. Okay. Yeah, I might stop it at certain points. Just things that stood out to me, you know, because out of all of this, it's not, you know, it's not about the fact of hidden, you know, type of thing. It's about the information that Darren is saying, that Janie said, or that Daniel said. Yes, it's third hand, obviously. People can get mixed up in what they're saying, you know, but Darren does seem to have a pretty good memory. All in all, if I kind of look back at, you know, like what he has said and stuff like that, he does seem to have a pretty good memory on him for, you know, for an old frickin' fart there, but grumpy old fart. But anyways, so that's what I'm going to play now. And yeah. All right. So let me pull that up. Remember, I did have to edit a bit of it out. Okay, just because either it was really irrelevant, you know, or there's a couple things in there that I just think that should not be put out. Video file. But for the most part, it's here. Okay, edited Dickwood too.
To me.
Right, I know.
Huh?
Yeah, I know you did.
Well, Malaya decided to talk to me, but then she talked to her lawyer and her Indian family, and they stopped her from talking to me.
Right.
So she changed her mind. So I went to the only other person. There was a girl at the break during the morning of the search and everything that landed with Cindy and them.
Okay.
And this girl stated that she she knew the kids were in. Now she was supposed to be a psychic, so-called. She said she right in front of the cops, the Mounties, right in front of. Now the big difference that's going on here, Sonny, is Janie McKenzie, Daniel's mother.
Right.
Won't talk to anybody.
Which you see.
She made an interview. She gave the police a sworn statement, but she won't talk to anybody publicly or in the news or anything like that, right?
Yeah.
Well, Janie McKenzie's been talking to me all along.
Oh.
And yes. And it was Janie McKenzie, and now she just gave me permission to say, I promised her, the first time I went in the yard to talk to Daniel, or here, well, it was this week. See, there's no phone reception right along there.
Okay.
So he's got to go up the road 500 yards one way or up a hill the other way to get phone reception. So when I had to see him, I'd have to go out. So I went out to confront Daniel about one thing that really bothered me the last time. I said to Daniel, you stated on television and everywhere. Now I can tell you don't believe me, and that's all right. I'm going to say
no,
I got to get this out.
Darren, it's not that I don't believe you. It's not. I apologize if the other day hurt you. It was just a matter of when we're saying something that somebody's saying and we don't have proof. It's just then we call it speculation. And
I know, but you called it more than speculation. You said when I talked to you the day before that it went over the line, it became absurd, and then you kept saying bullshit, and then Charmaine kept chiming in that was impossible and that didn't happen.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make it sound like that. I was just meaning, it's just that it's hard for anyone to believe. Even, it's not that you're not doing your best. I know you're doing your best for Lily and Jack. I do. I know you're sincere in your intentions. It's just hard to believe that a month and a half later that all this is like you know.
I think we're over 2 months now, aren't we?
The second will be 2 months, but it's more that this case is so wacky that it's not a normal case. So that's the point of when I say it's going into orbit.
I guess.
Yeah. So it's not that I don't think that you're not doing everything. I know you're trying to do what's best for these children.
All right, we'll get this one. Now, this is my family I'm talking about, right? When I first headed into this, my cousin Patty requested me to look into this because she knew I knew Daniel, she knew I knew his family, the Mackenzies, and all them over here. And she asked me if I heard anything, and if I did, I won't go into all the small particulars of it. I will at a later date.
Sure.
But it was Patty that requested I look into this, and this even before the kids disappeared. Patty asked me if I go over there and take Malay out of there with the kids, and I told her because she said Daniel was abusing her,
right?
And I said Patty, I can't do that. If Malaya calls me and says, look, Darren, he's hurting me and the kids, I want out. If Malaya herself did that, I would have.
Right.
But I told Patty I wasn't getting into their relationship without Malaya consenting for me to do it. No way. They were still living together, and if there was abuse, there's nothing I could do about it. But bottom line is here. All right, I already told you, and you already knew the part about Malaya going to meet with me and then backed out, and that's fine. The only other person that I could get a lead out of for who was driving the vehicle that supposedly transported the kids was Cindy, and I'll tell you why. Because the girl that was there, she was a very close friend of Malaya's other family, Haley Ferdinand, and this Shelby and Cheryl, other girls that are involved. There was a girl with them, and she claimed she was a psychic. Now this came from Logan. There was 5 people in on this conversation, plus Mounties standing right there. Why weren't they recording these conversations?
Right.
I don't get it.
Right.
So anyway, this girl stated that the kids were just being put in bed in New Brunswick, that they'd be safe, and that she was going to go up and visit them in a couple of days.
Oh.
Now, this is the testimony I got directly, ready, sworn testimony that went into the Mounties from Janie McKenzie, from Logan McKenzie, and from a couple other girls, but they never made statements to the Mounties about it, but they told me about it. So it all cooperated with me, what they were saying. Now the Mounties. Here's my deal. And oh, by the way, Cindy, I called Cindy.
Yeah.
She told me the first. I called her 2 days in a row. The first day she was raped, she bawled and screamed and cried. She didn't care what I had to do. She said I was on the right track. If you could just get me those kids back, she said, do whatever I had to do.
Yeah.
I said okay, and I knew what I had to do then was press Malaya harder. Anyway, I called her back the second day, and all I wanted to tell her was, listen, Malaya backed out on me. Malaya was
Right.
going to talk to me, but then she refused. Cindy wouldn't even let me talk. She said, Darren, I don't want you to say another word. I'm going to tell you right now, whatever Malaya did is all Malaya's fault, all Malaya's responsibility, and she'll have to pay the price for it. I'm washing my hands of it.
Right.
Now, that's her mother. That's her mother.
Yeah. I remember you saying
So
that.
So that's my family that I'm going against here.
Yeah.
And when I was first called in there to look at this, I was sure for the first few weeks that Daniel was the killer. That he did away, at least he did away with those kids. I was sure of it.
Right.
But it took a few weeks for Janie McKenzie to trust me enough, and all of a sudden, she broke loose last week. And told me that she was in the trailer, that she wasn't supposed to be home, that she heard Malaya come out the back door with all 3 kids.
Oh.
And yes, all 3 kids, because she heard Jack babbling. She heard Lily started her little bit of screaming. And when Lily used to start screaming, Janie has a dog in the trailer that she keeps with her in her fenced-in yard.
Right.
And when Lily screams, the dog bites her.
Oh.
So the dog lit up. They heard Lily doing her little screaming thing. They heard Jack babbling. Then she said when the dog barked, all of a sudden, you could hear Malaya. She said she could hear Malaya going shush, shush, shush. So she quieted the kids down. She took them out the fucking drive. Excuse me, I didn't mean to swear. She
That's
took them
okay.
out. I get excited.
I get
She
it.
took them out the driveway, and she still didn't know that Janie was home because Janie was supposed to be on a trip with her boyfriend.
Oh.
And by the way, now there's all kinds of speculation that I'm her boyfriend. Well, no, Janie's too dangerous for me. So anyway, Janie pulled her pants and boots on and wrestled with the dog for a minute to tie. She had to tie the dog up to her bed before she could get out of the trailer. By the time she got out of the trailer, she jumped out onto the driveway and walked right up behind Malaya. And Malaya was standing there with Meadow. Now, Meadow was in her arms this whole time.
Right, like you said.
Yep. And she walked right up behind Malaya. And Malaya looked at her right stunned. And you know my story. I think I told you that. The rest of the story from there on in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now,
go ahead.
Now, and by the way, my family was pretty dirty at me for a while when I proved. See, with Janie's testimony, and I didn't trust Daniel off the start when he told me this, and his version about how. And oh, by the way, that's when Janie was questioning Malaya at the end of the driveway. That's when Daniel was what fell back asleep, and that's when Daniel came out.
Okay.
When Daniel came out, Janie was standing there questioning Malaya. Malaya had the kid in her arms, and Daniel said, "What's going on?" Heard Janie, and he said, "Well, where's the kids?" Malaya looked at him and said, "They're in the woods." Daniel ran up in the woods, just like where their little play cabin is and their tree house is. He ran right through there, and that was what he said. He ran through the woods for 30 seconds because it just took him that through.
Right.
And that would be okay.
Yeah.
He said he came run back in. He said, "The kids, where's the kid? The kids aren't there." And then Janie said to Malaya, "How long they've been gone?" Malaya said, 20 minutes. So then it was Janie that sent Daniel out on the road with his van. She said, "You go cover the road, Daniel. I'm going through the woods." Janie headed up through the woods behind the little playhouse and that. Janie headed up through the woods. Daniel headed down the road, and they went all the way through to the next road. I think it's the Laird Road.
Right.
And Janie met Daniel at that road, and Daniel said, "Well, you know, they both asked, did you see them?" "No, we never saw them." And Daniel said, "Do you want to get in and I'll drive you back home?" And Janie still wouldn't get. She went closer to the pavement and followed the Lansdowne Road all the way back again.
Oh. Well, so she only heard the kids, but she didn't realize that they were put into a vehicle at the time?
No, Janie never. This is why I told you this before. I think Janie missed that vehicle by about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And I told you about me bluffing Hayden with the name of the person that I was pretty sure was in that vehicle.
Right.
And by the way, the reason I'm not contacting through Facebook is I've been cursing the Mounties activity in this pretty hard. And by the way, Jordan, I don't know if I should tell you this one.
Who's Jordan?
So, he's the head investigator for the major crimes unit.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Well, if this one's private, then it just stays private, if it is.
This conversation better stay private then, and I'll tell you one more thing.
Yeah, I won't put that out there.
I've been sitting all along in this. Jordan has been all over Daniel like a sheet, except for the last few weeks.
Right.
I've been sitting on conversations. Jordan gave Daniel his personal home number to call anytime he wants. Twice now, I've been trying to get a hold of anybody in major crimes. Now is the fourth day. This is the second time I tried to get a hold of them to give them something. And it's been since about 5 o'clock Saturday morning. Late Friday night, I got a message. And it was from a girl. And she said she wanted to contact me because she had information that would help me fix this.
Okay.
So, okay.
Yeah.
She said she had people around on the message. She was, for some reason, she didn't want to call right now, but that she was going to call her later when she was free, is what she said. Give me your phone number. I said, great. I give her the thumbs up, and I said, please do help me. So I waited and waited. No call. So after a few hours, I sent her my phone number back to her saying, look, here's my number. You don't got to message me your number. You can call me anytime, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Well, she never called back. But this I wanted to give because her first name is the same and the same age and everything as one of Malaya's very good friends. So I wanted to give this. I wanted to. After Cindy threw me under the bus, told me, nope, whatever happens, happens. Malaya wouldn't talk to me. That's when I said, okay, good enough. And that's when I said I'd give everything from now on. Cindy, everything goes to the Mounties first.
Yeah.
That was Saturday morning at 5 o'clock. They have not called me back yet. But I did do this report Saturday morning, and I wanted this report that I was trying to get a hold of them because Jordan's been threatening me with charges, with withholding evidence, interfering with the investigation and all that shit.
Oh, has he?
So I wanted this, and I had some more information there that I wanted this documented that I was trying to get a hold of somebody from the major crime unit.
Right.
I called the major crime unit. Oh, no, there's nobody here on Saturdays and Sundays. I said, so there's no major crimes get committed on Saturdays and Sundays. I was a little snotty with her. She said, well, what's it about? I said, it's about Lily and Jack Sullivan. I might have a little information here I'm trying to give them information I was warned if I got any information to give it to them, so I'm trying to give them some information. She says, oh, well, they're not in. I said, well, I need to speak to at least a Mountie because I need this documented that I'm trying to get a hold of them at this time with some information. She said, okay, I'll put you through to the Pictou detachment of the RCMP. I said, great. Right on the same phone call, girl says, hello, Pictou detachment, RCMP. I said, my name is Darren Geddes. I said, I'm trying to give a member some information, a tip, or whatever you want to call it, on the Lily and Jack thing. She says, oh, okay. She took my name, address, birth date, phone number. She says, there'll be a member in contact with you just in a few minutes, she said. I said, okay. 4 hours later, I'm sitting there, no phone call. So I thought to myself, all right, I'll grab my phone, keep it with me. I'll go find a Mountie. I drove around these 4 towns for 3 hours trying to find a Mountie. Not a sign of life out of the Stellarton detachment. No lights on, nobody in the windows, not a sign of life. So anyway, the last time I circled the Stellarton detachment, I was going up the road, didn't know what to do, towards Stellarton. About 400 yards up the road from the Stellarton detachment is the Sailor's Galley restaurant. There was 2 Stellarton cops, town cops, sitting in the restaurant. I pull in. I said, listen, boys, I got to get a statement. I want to get a statement verified here. I want to make a statement. I said, the main thing is I just need any cop to take a statement off me that I'm trying to give information about Lily and Jack Sullivan at this time. Because what I was scared of was that Malaya was starting to break. She was starting to send messages to people again. She was starting to communicate with Daniel again.
Was she?
And what I was scared of is that she was going to break.
Right.
And if she broke first,
right.
Well, I didn't want to be sitting there stuck with information, or I didn't want Jordan to be able to say they broke it first and then charge me with withholding evidence.
Right.
That's why I wanted to document it. I'm getting too loud, probably, am I?
Oh, it's fine.
Let me calm down.
No, I get it. I know you're doing this because you just want, you're doing it for the kids. Simple as that.
First I wanted to nail Daniel Martell because I wanted him nailed. If he hurt those fucking kids, I wanted him done.
Yeah.
And as I dug into it more and more and more, everything I found out cleared him.
Right.
More and more and more.
So
and so it came to the point with me that I had shown that people that are going to make sworn statements under oath in court are going to say that. And I always said I thought the kids were alive, but I know they were alive when they left Lansdowne that morning.
I really truly hope so.
Because if they weren't, the only time Daniel would have killed them would have been standing right in front of his mother and Malaya with the kid in her arms on the driveway.
Right.
Because that's the last time Janie heard and even probably saw them. I should have clarified.
So,
that's the last time Janie proved that they were there. Now, why would the cops know this? And keep...
Well, that's just it, Darren. Like, I don't understand. If there's all this information, how come the fucking RCMP can't find the damn kids?
That's why I'm calling the RCMP down to the fucking lowest. This should have been settled. This should have been settled within 2 days.
Yeah.
With the testimony they had, if they'd have been recording the fucking people that were testifying, all the people, especially the arguments that were going back and forth between family and family there. Especially when you've got a fucking girl there saying the kids are going to be in bed shortly, a nice warm bed, tucked in their nice warm beds in New Brunswick. And it was Janie that got right in her face is, what the hell do you know about this? And she smirked at Janie, said, well, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there visiting them in a couple of days. And that's when Janie said, you guys get the fuck off my property, get out of here.
Well, why did Daniel say, Darren, that Malaya's family's blaming me for having something to do with it, and I want to take a polygraph? Because
they did all along. Because they did blame him all along. They did. They were sure it was him right from the start.
Okay. Really? But if
they were sure because Daniel's abusive.
Right.
There's an abuse problem there.
Yeah.
He does have a temper because I fucking tried it. I heard he had a temper and I bugged him a few times and got him lit up. And he does have a very quick temper. Mm-hmm. And I do believe there was abuse. I do believe there was neglect. I know there was. But that's not. I wasn't getting into that. That's not what my family asked me to prove. And besides that, like I said, when the abuse was going on, Malaya was still voluntarily living there, and staying there.
Well, it just doesn't make sense if Janie heard the kids, and with Malaya. So it just, what I'm trying to wrap my head around is then why would they accuse Daniel of having something to do with it if Janie knew full well that Malaya was just with the kids?
Malaya never once said, and I don't believe even yet, Malaya has stated that Daniel has hurt the kids, and Malaya has stated that Daniel has acted strange around the kids. I challenge you to show me something where Malaya herself says Daniel killed the kids.
Right.
There's other family members that are sure, yes, Daniel killed the kids. But Malaya has never said it once, and because she knows it's not true.
She knows. Now.
Yes.
Now
I'm pressuring. Now I'm putting messages on Malaya, and I can't do it properly. And I'm telling you why. I'm sitting at Walmart right now because I wanted to hit Dolly Vision first and tell them about me folding over on like Cindy and Malaya, and I'm sure her mother knows. Cindy knows a lot more. That's why Cindy's. When I told Cindy, I'm sure one of the girls that was in I have a name that I'm very suspicious of, and I said, I won't say it's concrete yet. The first day, and I said to Cindy, I said, I believe Malaya's half-sister on Joe Smith. See, Cindy had another husband prior, and his name was Joe Smith. He lives down in Tattamagush.
Right.
And that's another reason why I told you guys, and by the way, I never said, do you remember when we had, and look back on it, I said there's things I know and things I don't know. And when, I think it was Charmaine or something asked me, when I said, listen, those kids by now, and what I was saying, Jesus Christ, it's been 7 weeks, those kids by now, the Mounties have given them enough time. They could be anywhere from Tattamagush to Plattsburgh, New York. And that's when Charmaine lit up and said, oh, no, there's no way they could get through the States. See, I was saying, oh, listen, if they wanted to get through the States. So then the argument was, I wasn't saying they went across the border.
You were saying that they could have. And you know what? Bottom line is, Darren, they could have. It is not. Sure, they could have. It's not hard to come into fucking Canada. It's not hard to go across. Okay, there's this one guy in true crime. He's a piece of shit, and he fucking would come over to Canada all the time, sneaking in. So don't.
My two brothers are living in Alberta, and they take fucking drives down every 3 days.
Yeah. So
across range roads on farms. Farmers that own land on both sides of the border, and they drive across their range roads.
Yeah, I mean, I could personally see it myself. I know she couldn't, but I personally could.
Check this out for me. Because there's been a lot of comments of people after we had that talk, if you noticed. Mm-hmm. There's quite a few people that come on there, and some of them said, look, I have native status. And if the kid has native status and he's 16 or under, his status card will get him across the border. Now, the only problem I have with that, the only glitch I see in that, is that if they have to prove identification of their name and birth date and that to get native status,
right? So
they'd still have to have the name, I would think, now, unless somebody forged them or something, they'd still have to have the name Jack Sullivan or Lily Sullivan on them.
Right.
But the other thing is, they wouldn't have to go across the border together at the same time.
Right.
You know. But I'm not saying they went to the States.
Right.
I'm saying now the only reason I mentioned that is because the report from the hairdresser that reported to the cops in Plattsburgh, New York, and that's the only. I was being kind of a smart arse, but what I really alluded to was that the Mounties are taking so flying long to finish this that in 7 weeks you could be anywhere from Tattamagush, where Joe Smith lives on his old farm, where Haley Ferdinand is his daughter. Mm-hmm. And Hayden is and they're non-native status, and so my smart arse remark wasn't as much directed. I wasn't saying they were in the States or in Tattamagush, but I was saying with Joe Smith living in Tattamagush and Haley Ferdinand being, I'm sure, involved in this, and then the hairdressing report,
right?
And that's why I said they could be.
They anywhere. Could be.
It's been long enough now. They could be anywhere in the world, really.
Yeah. No.
But that's why I said that. But anyway, I want you to know my statement now stands. Everything I said stands, and I'm right. I know I'm right, and what I'm right about. The bottom line is people keep. And I've been in contact with Belinda, and she's great. She understands. She's hoping I'm right.
Yes.
And I told her I understand why you would think that way, because she was pretty sure Daniel hurt the kids.
Yeah.
And I don't blame her for thinking that at all, because he was abusive.
Well,
and it was escalating.
Well, let me ask you a couple things. Okay, so first of all, I'm just going to ask this for my own self here.
Okay, because I don't have every little answer to every little aspect.
Of course you don't. I know.
Okay.
But there's hope.
Oh, there is a lot of hope.
Yeah, I mean, Belinda sees that there is, like, meaning when I was talking to her, she said, she had said to me, I think yesterday, she goes, well, she said, I can't remember exactly what she did, but basically it was to say, like, maybe Darren could be right, maybe. And I was just like, honestly, I know that, like, to her, I said, I truly hope and pray for you, Belinda, that this is true.
I don't want it. God love her. I know how much she loves those kids.
Yeah.
And I know much of a pain in the arse her son has been in between this relationship. And I know it's a combination of her son and Daniel that keeps those kids away from her. Mm-hmm. And Belinda's right on as far as I'm concerned, even though she's
Yeah.
She's skeptical of what I'm saying. I know she hopes what I'm saying is right. And she called me back, and she got contacted me back, and I didn't remember ever meeting her.
Oh,
But
okay.
I was over at Patty's at times, and she called me back, and she said, "Are you the guy I met over at Patty's there a few times?" And I said, "I don't remember, Belinda, what was going on?" And we talked a little bit, and she said, "Oh, I remember you." And there's nobody on God. After I met Janie McKenzie, listen, when I was younger, I already mentioned this, that the McKenzie family, his uncles and them, they're not to be freaked with. They're old, rough woodsmen, and there's especially one of them.
Right.
And I fought with them physically around when we were younger. And they're rugged bastards. But I'm going to tell you, I'm more scared. If I was going to get in a conflict, I'd rather get into it with 3 of them at a time than Janie, their mother, or their sister.
Right.
Because I'm telling you, she's one of those women, she's old-fashioned, she's hard, and she's true. And she'd blow a hole through you if you went too far with her so fast that unreal. And by the way, I've been where I lived, I've been asked to leave.
Really?
Yep. And when I went back to where my old home was in Foxbrook, where my exes and my sons are, my oldest son has grandkids, and he's been getting death threats, and he's been getting threats against the kids and that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And he just violently attacked me yesterday over it.
Really?
So I'm not permitted to live there. So now I'm homeless. I just packed up a bunch of stuff again this morning. I'm sitting here in my half-ton truck at Walmart with all my clothes and everything in my truck, and I don't know where to go.
Oh.
And it's because, and you know mainly who it's because of?
Who?
One woman.
That psycho.
She said, she copied something I said, some stuff I said, and she told people on there, you look it up, she told people on there, there's something wrong with this guy. Oh, there's something wrong with this guy. And don't take this for 100% gospel, because my memory's getting shaky on little deals. I'm sure she said, this guy is so involved, I think he drove the vehicle that took the kids away.
Wow. Yeah, like crazy fucking lunatic.
Now, there's a lot of crazy lunatics listening to her.
Yeah. Well, no.
Now, there's people driving. There's people driving into the yard there in Foxbrook. And sitting in front of the house taking pictures right in the driveway. There's people harassing my young fellas. And I'm homeless.
So are you? So in saying that, then, are you sure you really want to go on any podcast at this moment?
It's got to be finished.
Yeah.
The damage to me is already done.
What happened to your?
Malaya's got to pay for this. Malaya's got to get it. Malaya's fault in this is not that serious. The worst thing she is doing and did do is shut her mouth after she lied about them being in the woods and after she lied about them being abducted.
Right.
See, when she lied about them being in the woods, she triggered the search. The Mounties got there a hell of a lot quicker than she thought they would. Then, later on from that, after the search had already started, I believe it was the second day, she changed her mind and said it was an abduction. That triggered the criminal search, the criminal investigation. So those 2 lies are what totally screwed her. Because up to that point, she never really did anything illegal. She wanted out of there. She was shipping the kids out of there, regardless of whether Daniel knew or not. You know, he was in bed sleeping. Actually, I think she was making a good move because he was violent. She was scared of him, didn't want a confrontation. So she was trying to get out of there. And if it hadn't been for Janie being home in the trailer, she would have got out of there.
But in saying that, Darren, of course, she's the one that's made millions of dollars be spent because of her lies.
That's what I'm saying. That's why she's shutting up now. That's why her lawyer.
Yeah.
Her lawyer. I was on the phone when Malaya was packing to leave the reservation and come and talk to me at Patty's. And I heard a guy saying, I'm sure, the family was telling her, don't go, Malaya, until you talk to your lawyer, get legal advice on this. Don't leave the reservation because you got some protection here. And that was Henry Brooks and her family. And then some guy came in, and Malaya just looked at him, and he said, where are you heading, Malaya? What's your plan here? She said, I'm going to talk to my cousin, my grandmother's cousin, I'm going to talk to Darren. He said, and then he started to say, I strongly advise you, and then the phone hung up. And what Hayden told me, that's Malaya's sister, that's how I communicated with Malaya, was through her brother Hayden, who was still living at Patty's.
Right.
And Hayden told me, no, she, as soon as the lawyer came in and her family was there, she changed her mind and shut down.
Well, and that's too bad. Well, meaning, she knows.
I was trying to help her. I told Patty and them, here's what I do. And I know this is wrong, as far as the law goes. I said, if Malaya doesn't come out, I said, and tell the truth, it's getting harder on her every day. I said, if she comes out and tells the truth that she panicked and told a couple lies, well, she's still going to be responsible. I would say they'd probably still charge her for at least filing some false reports and stuff like that, making false accusations. But I said, I wouldn't be worried too much about that with Malaya. But what Malaya's got to realize is those 2 lies, number one, cost her kids, because she'll never get them again. CPS, when they do get them, she'll never get them back, including Meadow. And I said, number 2, what she's got to realize is there's a very good possibility she could be responsible for one of the most financially damaging searches in Canada.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I mean, they even had a satellite in on that after the first 2 days, 3 days. How much does that cost?
Yeah. Well, that's just it. Now, that's just it. So, like, I mean, it's just... what I still don't get in all of this is, like, it's one thing to leave an abusive relationship and you go to your family, right? Because no matter what, your family is your family, even if you don't like your mom for the... But to sit there and have someone get the kids and then, say, put them in hiding and then not even at any point come forth at any point to admit to it is just crazy.
I'm there with you. I'm there. I've been fighting with her, trying to get her either to admit to it to the cops. But the reason I don't have an answer for you. Sometimes I probably act like I have all the answers, but I don't.
I know.
And I don't have the answer. I don't have the answer to that one. She should have come out at least by the second day. She should have calmed down a little bit and told the truth, because I mean, she's standing in the middle of 160 searchers and dogs and helicopters and drones and mounted Jesus, right? She should have opened her mouth then. And now it's on legal advice that she's not opening her mouth. And as far as I'm concerned, the lawyer is killing her.
Probably.
The lawyer, I mean, okay, you educate an idiot, you have an educated idiot. You train a monkey, you got a trained monkey.
Yeah. Well, you know,
so those are answers my God. But listen, I'm telling you, it's the truth, and I wish you'd start accepting it smoother, because you're gonna, when it does come out, that's what's going to come out.
It's not that I don't accept it. It's honestly, Darren, it's not that I'm not. Honestly.
And don't forget, you don't realize, nobody realizes how bad I hammered Daniel for the first 2.5 weeks of this.
Oh no.
I mean, I gave him a fuck of a hard time. I reamed him, and he hung in there for it. His own mother, do you know what, Janie, the first thing she told me? Well, the first thing she told me, I'm not fucking talking to you, why are you here? And I said, well, I'm Darren Geddes. I said, I've been talking, Daniel and I have been sort of conferring on this.
Yeah.
She said, I'll get him, but she said, I'm not saying a word to you. And I said, no, Janie. I said, you don't want to talk, or don't. I said, that's fine with me.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know what she really knew by that point, other than what Daniel told me. And I wasn't pushing Janie at all. So Daniel and I sit down to have a talk. And like I told you, the point I wanted to clear up is, if you knew the kids, if you knew Malaya did something to the kids out at the end of the driveway, why the fuck were you running through the woods? And he said, well, I wasn't really running through the woods that much. I just didn't want Malaya to look like a liar. I said, holy fuck, Daniel.
Right.
And I know his stuff is spun around. I've given him shit for stuff coming up different, new stuff popping up. I've given him shit for that. But Daniel's not that fucking bright.
No.
And neither is Malaya.
No, they're not.
They're two, what would you say? I don't know. I don't want to insult them, but you got my idea.
Yeah, they're yeah, the light doesn't go to the top of the Christmas tree. I get it.
No, they're a lot younger. They're a lot younger in their brains than they are in their bodies.
Yeah.
I would say they're the equivalent of about 16-year-old kids right now. That's what they are.
What I don't understand though is, like I said, if the RCMP have this information,
yeah.
Like, I mean, there's like digital data. There's.
Oh, I know what I was going to tell you about the RCMP. That to explain. Okay, sorry, I didn't interrupt. Go away. I know there's a lot of stuff. I know.
Well, that's all I was going to say. I just don't get that.
Okay, when Janie heard Daniel and I talking twice, right? And she pulled up a lawn chair and she looked me right in the face. She said, "I don't want him saying anything to you that I don't want to hear." And I said, "Great, Janie, me neither. Great, great." And I said, "Great." So Daniel was telling me stuff, and Janie was disagreeing with him. They argue, they bicker constantly, Janie and Daniel. They bicker about anything. They bicker about how much toothpaste to put on a toothbrush. It's unbelievable. And I mean, they get mad at each other. The second time I was there, Janie looked at me and she said, "Do me a favor, big fella." I said, "What's that?" She said, "Beat the fuck out of him until he listens to me, will you?" That's her son. And I said, "Well, Janie, I think I'll hold back on that. I'm a little too old for that." And I said, "The young fellow will probably give me a hell of a hard time." and that's the way Janie is. And that's really the way she is.
Yeah.
And I know that not from Janie, but I know that from my woman / landlord who I was renting a room off and being with. That's the woman that just asked me to leave, and I agreed with her. She was getting fucking, her family's getting. Don't forget, Logan is her granddaughter. Logan is
Janie's granddaughter?
No, Logan is my woman's granddaughter.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
So, of course.
Gotcha.
And there's other people like.
Did you say that
my
in
woman's
Dolly?
I don't even want to say her name. My woman's kids are very techie, and they've been screaming and yelling about the stuff on the online, on YouTube, and threats and everything coming in. And, I mean, they're putting pictures of my fucking house on there now. They have been the last while.
Oh, really?
And the address and all that stuff.
Oh,
yeah. Now I went with my. Listen, and people saying I never went to the cops. Fuck, I don't know, man. I went to major crimes. I went to the Stellarton cops, and I went to the Westville cops over this stuff because major crimes wouldn't fucking let. All right, here's the best part of this one now, and you can believe it or not. I don't. I want you to believe it because it's true. That's the only reason I want you to believe it.
It's not that I don't believe you. Just please get it through your head. It's not that I don't believe you, Darren. It's not about that at all.
I think it's more like you almost can't believe me.
No.
More can't than don't. That's the way I see.
It's not.
But that's just.
It's not that. Trust me. I
understand that we see things. Everybody sees things differently. So don't you worry about it, because I'm not worried.
Honestly, I just fight for Jack and Lily. That's it.
Right. That's what I'm trying to get. That's what I'm trying to get through. That's what I'm trying to get through. That's what I want to bust fucking Malaya for. Where are these kids?
Yeah.
Spit it out. Come on. If you can't tell us where the kids are, for fuck's sake, tell us who you handed them off to.
Well, that's what.
So that I can.
Sorry, you were talking about Janie, but then you were talking about the RCMP, and you said.
Here we go. But this George, after about, I was 3 weeks into this, actually closer to 4 weeks, I guess, and my timelines aren't perfect right down to the day or the hour,
I know.
because there's been so much going on in my head and going on. But what Jordan, the head officer here for the major crimes unit, doesn't know, he gave Daniel his personal phone number right off the start. And he was just so fucking intent on nailing Daniel, which I can understand.
Right.
He thought Daniel was a fucking child murderer. Fine and dandy.
Right.
Go after them, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But what he didn't understand is once Daniel gained my trust, and I gained Daniel's trust, every time Daniel would call Jordan to report something, or every time Jordan would call Daniel to talk to him, I was sitting there fucking listening.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And the last few times, even Janie trusted me enough. Janie and I and Daniel sit and listen to what he was telling Daniel. Now, if you want to hear a bunch of schoolyard moron, there he is. Do you know what he told them? Do you know what he told us, me and Janie and Daniel sitting yesterday? Do you know what he told us?
What?
Daniel said, listen, Jordan, I'm telling you, Darren does know what he's doing. He does know a lot about this, and he knows what he's doing, and I trust him.
Mm-hmm.
He said, you don't trust this Darren Geddes guy. He said, I've been trying to verify for a week. I don't think he's even really related to the family.
Really?
Now, if they can't tell, he was calling me down that I was nothing but a fucking loon and that I was looking for the reward. And listen, if the government of Canada wants to give me 150 grand in the end of this, do you think I'd turn it down? I'll take some of my income tax money back.
Yeah, right.
But at the same token, I've been in this for 5 fucking weeks before there was any reward offered. I never saw any reward coming.
I was going to say, you were talking before the reward.
Oh, way before.
I know.
And not talking on social media way before and stuff like that. But I mean, I was leaving a lot of people in their family.
Wow.
Anyway, that's what I got to say. It's all Malaya's lies that started this. It's the incompetence of the RCMP that's keeping it going, and Cindy's in on it. Now that's all I was going to tell Dolly. And I want you can write that down. If I don't get a hold of you online, write that down for me right now and spit it out. Say that I claim it was all Malaya's lies that started this. That as far as I'm concerned, her mother knows a lot more about it. That Daniel's innocent of murder. He could be guilty of other stuff. You can write it down. Daniel's guilty of other stuff. Possible abuse. But it's all Malaya's lies that started this ball of shit. And it's all RCMP incompetency and arrogance that kept it going this long. And that I thoroughly believe Cindy or Malaya's mother knew a lot more than...
Well, that's just two things. So, does Logan know 100% if there was abuse between Daniel and Malaya? Does she know? Since she seems to be...
No, she claims there's not, but I don't take Logan's advice on that for gospel, because Logan is very, very pro Daniel.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Now, as for Cindy, like, it's just like, how would she even let her daughter come back home if she thought she had anything to do with those kids? It would be like, Malaya, you either...
I can only speculate what happened. The day before, I called Cindy 2 days in a row. And by the way, Malaya was there the first time I called, and I didn't know.
Yeah, you... Okay. Oh.
And I heard Malaya in the background right before Cindy hung up on me, and I'm sure what she said was, Mom, it's Darren, I want to talk to him. And Cindy said, no way, and slammed the phone down. Now, that's right after she was bawling and crying to me.
Right, the day before. 10
seconds before that, telling me to get the kids home. There's the other thing. Why would Cindy be so sure I could get the kids home if they were dead? She said, I just want the children back in the family. Well, that ticked me off right there.
Look to your daughter.
You tell me your daughter's... it's your daughter... And you're telling me that you're living with her for a while again, and you're telling me and visiting her constantly with the kids, and you're telling me your daughter does something like this and doesn't at least come a little clean with you, or at least you know?
Right.
Come on.
Well, right. Well, So what's your plan then today?
My plan today, that's all I got, is I wanted to release this. I wanted to tell you that why I don't trust the RCMP. Well, I know I don't. The RCMP, they're lying bastards is what they are. They're incompetent, they're arrogant, and I know it. And what I say at the end of my comments now is that everybody who disagrees with me and tells me that the RCMP are the best police force in the world, well, remember Port-au-Pete. And then I can tell you another half a dozen cases around here where the RCMP fucked up so bad it was unbelievable.
Yeah. So
I'll tell you a good one. My best buddy's place up in Spring Hill, he's got a cottage by Poison Lake, it's called, outside of Spring Hill.
Yeah.
There's a skidoo club up there. He skidoos up there with some boys. They were skidooing along the Poison Lake Road here about 3 months, maybe 4 or 5. Or anyway, right in the middle of winter. And one of the guys got hurt on the skidoo, rolled a skidoo. So they dragged the guy up out of the edge of the road, out of the whatever field or whatever, or brook. Dragged him up on the edge of the road. Called emergency services, right? The fucking Mounties, there were a couple Mounties come up there and took charge of the site, right? They called the fire truck, and the fire truck and ambulance were coming anyway, right?
Yeah.
They let the fire truck and the ambulance onto the fucking site. The guy in the fire truck was loaded fucking drunk and ran over the guy and killed him.
Oh, wow.
and I can name names, and that's just the last one.
Right. Wow.
And I've been in, but anyway.
Yeah.
So the Mounties to me, and especially this Logan, I'm zeroing in on him after the phone calls and everything that I heard, what he said, what he was telling Daniel, and what he was saying about me. All right, here's a good one. Do you know, here's another good one he just finished telling us on the phone, the last phone call. He told Daniel, he said, listen, he said, I would really appreciate it if you didn't appear on any more social media or any more interviews.
Right.
And Daniel said, well, I'm just trying to keep this thing alive, he said. I'm just trying to keep this thing going. And you know what he told him? He said, well, every time you do an interview or that fucking Darren Geddes opens his mouth, he said, we start getting tips. And he said, we don't want any more tips because we already know it all.
Oh, well, then where's the kids?
That's exactly.
Well, then.
If you already know it all.
Why isn't...
That's right.
Yeah. If you already know it all.
And I'm sure the only reason Malaya hasn't been arrested yet is they're surveilling her pretty heavy because they think she might lead them to the kids, and they want to be the fucking heroes that find the kids.
Oh, of course.
They don't want anybody, especially me. They don't want me to find those kids.
Oh, no, they want to be the heroes for sure.
Yep.
So just to ask you, if you don't mind, Darren, just to ask you, like, because obviously, you know, we've had this conversation. So is it one of those things that there's nothing I can say really about this conversation at all? And what?
Yeah, you can say everything. You can say everything you want about this conversation. Sure. I hope you do.
Okay. Are you sure?
Please, fire away.
Well, except for the stuff about Jordan, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Don't want to talk about that.
No, don't say I was in on those conversations because that'll fry Janie and Daniel. That'll give them a lot. Yeah, thank you for reminding me of that part. No.
Yeah.
Now you just made me trust you a little bit. A little bit more because that would have been bad. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I do apologize if the communication was wrong that way. I was honestly, like I said, it's not that I don't believe you. I know it's hard to understand that this case is wacky Jones, and I truly want what you're saying to be true. Meaning.
Well, Sonny.
Yeah.
Sonny, I apologize as well.
I
really do. I might have jumped the gun because I've been very highly stressed over this. This is fucking crazy.
Yeah,
I've been.
Yeah.
I had 2 scraps over this with guys.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, and I mean I'm an old man. I'm still. I got maybe 30 seconds in me, but after that I get tired too quick.
Yeah.
And these young guys, you know, they're not. But anyway, never mind that shit. But no, I thank you for what you just said about. I said, yeah, go ahead, and you said, well, not about George. That I appreciate that because that would have been a big mistake.
No, I don't want to put I only want to ever put what somebody is allowing me to put out there. Not
look. Just the way it is. Tell them, look. Everybody says how Daniel's been feeding me information, and I've been sucking it up, and then I'm Daniel's boy, and I kiss his boots and all that. Listen. It's just like Janie said. If I found that kid guilty, I'd have fucking wrecked him.
Right, and I do understand that because I know a lot of what you've said is what Daniel's already said, you know, but then again, I also know that if you thought Daniel had something to do with it, and then everything pointed to actually it's not Daniel, then obviously you're going to be helping him on his side, because if you feel like everything's pointing towards Malaya have done something to these kids based on all your information, it's understandable.
Obviously. Yeah. Oh, and don't forget, Daniel and Logan and his family was giving me information all along, except for Janie. She just started lately. But don't forget, my family wasn't giving me nothing. Other than my cousin saying that Daniel was abusing her and she wanted out of there, and they were sure he did away with the kids. That's all I could get, because Malaya wouldn't open her mouth and Cindy wouldn't open her mouth to me.
Yeah.
So everything I got through my family, I had to get through somebody else, and then I had to double check it with somebody else who was there as a witness and somebody else who knew something to even get a really good idea what was going on. So it was hard to drag information out of my and Malaya and Cindy are still not right to this point.
The whole pathetic part out of all of this is that why is Belinda is the one that's fighting. Like, okay, so again, I mean,
Exactly.
obviously, well, but why is
Listen,
she
because she loves the kids.
right? Why isn't Malaya? Why isn't the grandmas? Why aren't those people? Why are those people all shut up over on that side?
Malaya and Cindy. I'll tell you this: the great Patty, the grandmother of them all.
Yeah.
She's beat up so fucking bad. That listen, she says to me, I go over there a couple of weeks ago, and Hayden, the little fellow that's living there,
Yeah.
he was getting mouthy. He called me and said and demanded that I tell him everything I know. Now Patty was scared. Later on, I went back over to see Hayden because I wanted to get Hayden to trust me because he could communicate with Malaya when she was on the reservation. So I went in and I told Patty, I want to take Hayden for a drive. Patty was scared. She thought I was going to take him out and, finish him, fix him up. And I had to promise her he'll come back without a scratch on him if he doesn't act up. So me and Hayden went for a drive, and that's when I convinced Hayden to trust me enough that I wanted to, that I already knew Daniel never killed the kids.
Yeah.
That I needed Malaya to talk to me, that she'd save herself a lot of trouble and probably save herself some jail time and everything else down the road if she talked to me. And I said, and to tell you the truth, I said, look, maybe we can work out a scheme to get her off on some of this stuff that she's going to get nailed for. And I said, if she talks to the cops, they're going to nail for everything that they can get her for.
Now,
but I said, if she talks to me, I might be able to help. And he did. He believed me that I was trying to help her, and that's why he called her on the reservation and asked her to talk to me. And that's why she agreed. And okay, you know the rest of that.
Yeah. Now, what was I just gonna say? Shit, I was just gonna say something. Darn it!
I've told you all I know and probably more. I can't.
I was gonna say. I mean, it's like it's probably not wise to say anything that Janie said either. Do you think?
No. I'll tell you why. The first 2 times I talked to Janie.
Yeah.
The second time she really let loose, and the second time she said to me. The first time she said not too much to me, but quite a little bit. The second time she let go with everything, and this is right in front of Daniel, and she let go there and was pointing out all around the yard, right exactly where she saw Malaya, exactly where Malaya was standing, exactly the baby in her arms, the footprint beside the trailer, the footprint beside the road, the reason why there was only one footprint beside the trailer, all this stuff. And she said, but I don't do fucking interviews. She said, I told the cops all this in a statement. They got it all. But I'm not doing these fucking interviews because there was people, CBC was coming in there trying to bribe her with fucking muffins. Earl, her husband, her ex-husband, Daniel's father is a small guy, but he used to be a pretty bad alcoholic, and they were offering him rum and fucking beer for information.
Actually, to be honest with you, we have that in a text message from Daniel.
Well, good. I'm glad you do.
Like, meaning, so there's a few of those text messages that I know have kind of got lost along. Like, not lost. We have them, but they haven't. I'm
glad you have that from another source, even though it's Daniel.
Yeah.
At least you know. I might be online a little bit,
Wow.
So no, I'm glad you have that, and that's what was pissing Janie off the bed, and she was ordering them off the property. She said when the first time I pulled in the driveway, she charged right at the truck. Who the Jesus are you? What do you want, a goddamn interview? What are you, a podcaster? No, Janie, no. The third time. The second time, Janie told me again, warned me again, boy, if I hear anything that I'm saying turn up on a goddamn podcast or YouTube or somewhere, she said, I'll know where it came from. And she said, I'll blow a fucking hole through you. And I said, good enough, Janie, no problem. So I shut my mouth. The last time I talked to Janie, you know what she said? She said, let her fly, Darren. If you want to use my name, go the fuck ahead. She said, just find the kids.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, okay, so...
I just went over in my mind exactly what Janie said to me again. She said, yep, I don't give a fuck, Darren, she said, anymore. I got nothing on. I lost my kids. What the fuck, she said. Let her fly. So, yeah, let her fly.
Okay. The internet can be very, 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 very nasty.
That's what my youngest son, he said, Dad, you got to understand. He said, you got us in a lot of shit. And he said the internet can be ferocious, he said.
Oh, ferocious is...
See, they know more about it than I do, a lot more about it than I do. And I'm trying to learn quick, but
well, that's...
I'm being...
Honest, yeah, and it was too bad that you gave out your name, because that's something you should never do. Like, meaning, those little hounds are going to try to get at you, but honestly, I know that you don't know the internet, like, meaning, I know that it's not been your cup of tea, but I've spent 5 years just in true crime, and people will put up your address if they can get it, and the minute
they got everything there. They got pictures of my home, they got videos of my, not my home, and that fucking thing, there's the other thing, they're saying it's where I live. I haven't lived there 9 years.
Right, because
that's where my ex and my sons live.
Yeah, and that's why, like, when you said your name and you literally said it, and to everybody, I'm like, oh my God. Because that just made it probably...
Yeah, but I was getting called a liar and all that shit, and I wanted to say, look, I'm not fucking hiding anything here. Let's get it on.
Well, it's kind of...
And that was...
Yeah, I mean, it's so, like, even when that, on the other night, right? Again, I was upset because in my heart, I was like, oh my God, Belinda is, going to be so upset. Right? That you were saying factual, that it's factual, they disappeared. Her daughter was upset, clearly, that Chelsea that was in the room as well. And she goes, I really do not want my mother to see this. And I was like, well, Chelsea, your mom is a strong woman. She's been nothing. She absolutely is. I can't even speak highly enough about, she has never wavered from anything I've ever said to her.
Nope.
She's just always been like, here you go,
and she's had a lot of difficulty with her son.
Yeah.
I don't know.
At the end of the day, it's her son. It doesn't matter, right? We know this.
Yeah.
You could be Chris Watts, the one that killed his wife and kids. It's still... he's still the son of his mom and dad, no matter what they do.
A mother's love is the hardest one to break.
A mother's love. That's what I try to teach my son.
It's the hardest. That's the deepest love.
He'll start learning, because I always try to teach him that a mother's love is unconditional.
That's the same way with Janie and Daniel.
Yeah.
I've been telling Daniel in conversations, they'll start bickering back and forth. And Daniel get disrespectful, and I told him quite a few times, if I was you, I'd shut your fucking face and listen a little more. And we got into it a little bit over. Well, she's saying this and she's saying that. I said, listen, she's your fucking mother. A lot of the times, Daniel, you're better off just to shut your face.
Yep.
And I said, even if she's wrong, she's right. That's what you got to start looking at, because she's your mother, and you owe her. If she's making mistakes or doing so, even if she is. Yeah. Let her be wrong, but don't fight with her. Fuck no, nothing good comes out of it.
I know. Unfortunately, life is always hindsight for everything, sadly.
Oh, I'm getting a call. I'm gonna have to go.
Okay, Darren.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Okay, so that's obviously, so that's the end of that, okay? I decided not to interrupt it, just to let it play its course through and whatever. Again, I think you guys could tell that I was just letting him speak, trying to get a few things in there, but just letting him say what he wanted to say on that. So again, take it with what you want. Again, Derwood has said a lot of shit, and I'm sure he's got a lot of shit to say. He's probably going to say shit about this, to be honest with you. So again, I'm just looking for where the truth lies in any of the conversations from family. Can't take anything from Daniel because just BS. Malaya, not really sure exactly that scope of it exactly. But when family's talking, we should always listen regardless. And until basically they burn their bridge or something, or I burn their bridge, one of the two. But again, take care. Is there anything that anyone wanted to? I mean, I've been watching you guys in the chat the whole time. Like I said, I just wanted to let it play out, and this was near the start, about 6-7 months ago. Like I said, July and August. I know he went on Dolly first. And that was July 18th, I believe, on Dolly. And I just remember, like I said, it was the first one the live we did, just to repeat, first live we did, that's when he started saying about factual, what he knows 1000% ironclad, based on the sources of Janie and that, he ended up sending me a nasty messenger message, of course, and then blocked me. And then we ended up speaking again, I think a couple weeks later or something. And that's when this conversation happened. I think there was a point there, though, where I remember looking at the recording and then it stopped or something like that. So I feel like there was some time in there where a piece of this conversation maybe just didn't happen. But either way, whatever. Again, Derwood said what he said on here. I don't know. Yeah, it was about an hour long. I think it was like 57 minutes. New information just came out. Allegedly, they're under the care of Native CPA and the RCMP. Going through the courts right now. They're demanding sovereign rights over their own children on this. And okay, new information just came out. Yeah, I'm just kind of exhausted after just listening to that, to be honest with you. A lot of right, right. So although I like I said, I had looked at that whole line of hidden and all that stuff, as anyone watching this channel knows, right? Sloan Bella, that whole thing and stuff like that. But then it just came to a point that it just did not make sense, But again, you catch more bees with honey, right? Just listening, letting them speak whatever they want to say. I mean, I don't even know what to say right now, to be honest. I almost tired myself out listening to that. Appreciate the fact that, so in my normal world on lives, that's how I actually talk, is like that, like in my customer service that I do and everything like that. It's just on the internet, especially. I just don't put up with bullshit. I'll be more vocal about that crap because I have that side about me as well. You want to piss me off, you want to play games and all that shit, will come at me then. You want to make me your worst nightmare. Okay, I'll be your worst nightmare if you want me to. But most times on the internet, I just don't give a fuck about useless people to me. Just want answers for Jack and Lily. And wherever the truth lies. Near the start, obviously, you heard that Jack was babbling, Lily was doing her scream, and that Malaya, according to Janie, according from Darren, that was hushing the kids, and then you all know that that there was a conversation between Belinda and Janie, and Janie had told Belinda about the hushing and all that stuff like that. And then Haley, what I say, Haley, and then what's her name now? Bagface or Janie, that's what I meant to say. Retracted it, right? Saying that she didn't say that, and Darren's like, basically like, fuck you, basically you're a liar. And well, he didn't say fuck you, but basically said that she's lying, because that's what she did say. I absolutely do believe that that was just a bunch of BS. Oh yeah, I love your mother, to me, besides of course fighting for Jack and Lily, for answers and stuff like that. I love your mother. I think she's one of the strongest, wonderful ladies I've ever talked to. So I have mad respect for your mom, Belinda Gray. And I'll always be on her side of fighting for answers. Belinda, your mother can do and talk to whoever she wants, do whatever she needs to do to try to find answers and stuff like that. Bottom line is that part's none of my business, because all I care about is the fact that I know Belinda's been working hard to just fight for answers for Jack and Lily. And that's the bottom line of it. And a lot of you guys are. I know, Chelsea, you're great support to your mother, and there's others as well, behind the scenes, in front of the scenes and stuff like that. So I'll always have the mad respect for your mother. Thank you so much. Oh, there's blended here as well. So thank you so much. I appreciate every message and prayer from all of you, Lily and Jack Strong. That's exactly, again, why we're here. It's Lily and Jack. So going back to just quickly what I was talking about was, I mean, obviously there's different things that people might have taken away from this particular conversation with Darren. You guys know I call him Dickwood too, because he is a Dickwood, right? He just goes off with his mouth and he just says really ignorant things and stuff like that, and then obviously he toned down and then we had spoken again and stuff like that. But whatever, he can berate me, he can say every name in the book. Don't care. I mean, he's put his mouth out there, he's put his name out there, he's put his everything out there pretty much on there. But anyway, but again, I do believe him, definitely at certain points, like besides his own theory and stuff and how he feels with regards to Malaya and Hidden and all that stuff like that, that's his own right to have his ever prerogative, whatever, he wants to spew and, say stuff towards that. I think most of us are realistic more so and understand that Occam's razor, drugs, financial, jealousy, anger, abuse, neglect, and stuff like that. I think most of us, feel like this is, regardless, a criminal investigation in our opinions, and that, we just truly want to understand what happened to Jack and Lily because they deserve the answers. These two beautiful children deserve the truth, and the truth doesn't seem to be coming out from the people that are on the property, in my opinion. And but I do, like I said, believe Darren when he says that. Janie said that. I strongly feel myself that they were trying to create this alibi, this timeline. But once Janie spoke, the timeline especially failed because there was no, to me, possible way that a vehicle could have pulled up. Malaya put them in the vehicle. And if you listen to Darren, he says, well, Daniel was sleeping, when Malaya was outside. But wait, what? Because Daniel's saying that him and Malaya went outside at the same time and stuff like that. So is he misquoting what was said? Or is that the version he was told by Daniel? Which wouldn't shock me because, right, Daniel's full of inconsistencies. But I see this as them trying to present this timeline that the children were alive and that the only point that they could have disappeared was the 9:40 to 10 o'clock area type of idea, I guess when they woke up. So I guess, if they disappeared, they could have disappeared obviously sooner than that. Because remember, they're falling asleep but to me, that's just to me a narrative that they're trying to place the children, that Janie heard them. So we actually know. So we have to take the time at some point after 9 for sure, right? Because remember, Janie's memory gets foggy. Daniel, Malaya, their memories are foggy. They're sleeping. They can't remember Thursday from a Wednesday to freaking, all this Reiki bullshit and stuff like that. Daniel thinks the fence is built already before May 2nd, but yet clearly the aerial photos show it's not. He's blaming Malaya for being the abusive one, but hey, there's no abuse in the relationship whatsoever. And he's clearly innocent of anything about himself. He's just out there. There's a freaking bug ass flying around me. But anyway, so I just think that was inserted as part of the timeline. But to me, because they're, what I deem as obviously not the smartest, brightest bulbs in the world, that they've created a timeline. But I think that something like this happened during that Thursday to Friday. So I just don't believe that they had their story shit together. I believe that still Malaya has knowledge of that something happened to the kids, that Daniel or herself have involvement, hence why Malaya's interview was so strange, where she didn't even say the children's names, and then she was projecting towards an Amber Alert, and well, it could have. And and again, at 8:28, did she call her mother to say that the children were missing at that point, and then it got postponed an hour and a half to 10:01, and I just think that their whole timeline crumbles. And obviously the police aren't using Janie's hearing the kids, and they're using on the Thursday afternoon there, because that's when they physically see Jack and Lily alive. I mean, I know that Cindy, according to whatever Malaya called her mom on Thursday, had a video phone call with her, and people are wondering if Cindy saw a black eye, on Lily and stuff like that. But again, they're using the timeline of when they were physically alive, right? But I just think that it's just a timeline that's created that fell apart. Daniel, throughout these months, to me, in my opinion, has just been inserting a bunch of BS along the way. He's changed his stories. Again, he tries to direct all the diversion over to this whole Malaya side, Malaya's family. And I just think that myself, that Darren himself, and whoever thinks that they're hidden in that, again, have every right to whatever you think happened and stuff like that. I'm still going to live in reality, and reality is typically that there's family involvement, that something happened to the children on the property. They have every all the what's the word I want to use? Can't think of the word, but they have all the what's the word? I'm trying to find that word. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is, drug abuse, financial problems, jealousy, anger, neglect, right? All those things to contribute to what is Occam's razor. So again, we all have our theories, but we don't know the true answers of what happened to Jack and Lily. So whatever your way of thinking is totally up to you, obviously. And I have my own thoughts and opinions on this. But at the end of the day, regardless of which way it is, we still just want answers for Jack and Lily. That's the bottom line. They deserve it. They don't deserve this BS. They don't deserve, I'm sorry, but they don't deserve a mother, right? If a mother is so invested, because these are her children, you would, honestly, as a mother, I'm offended by what I'm seeing. Okay. If the two children, whether they're alive or dead, okay, no matter what, you would still want people to help search, to find the truth out. You would expect Cindy as well to, come to the public and ask for our help. You would expect that, sometimes people try to belittle Belinda, on this. And yet she's someone, regardless, that has been there almost this entire time, like from the start. But I mean, since me and her started talking, fighting for answers for Jack and Lily. And people are trying to take away from the fact of how much, that she loves her grandbabies. And some people are trying to say, like, well, she didn't see them in so long and whatever. Well, again, Haley's already told you that, basically Malaya pushed away. Belinda's already told you that, as well. So Malaya was doing basically what Daniel was requesting, in a sense, of her. And that's what I'm saying. So at the end, so to sit there and try to take away from Belinda, because she might not have seen the grandbabies in a certain length of time or whatever it was, 60 months or whatever, and stuff like that is ridiculous to me. It's like, where's the big voices for Jack and Lily? Well, Belinda's out there. Chelsea's out there. Haley's putting herself out there. She came on alive, like I said, recently and stuff like that. But where's the mother in all of this coming out there to ask us for these things? Are weird. Not saying your children's name in an interview and basically telling how much they babble, and that, a lot of people go with the pain and sorrow and stuff like that. That first interview means a lot to me about kind of like, Daniel and Malaya trying to have a same story, but then their story kind of still didn't jive, even though they were trying to have it. And then Janie's interview comes out, and then it blasts the whole timeline. Daniel always refused to talk about the 8 o'clock to 8:30 part, because, hey, if you're saying you got up almost as Jack and Lily, like, he's changed the story on that. Like, who said who? Malaya woke up really fast all of a sudden, but yet I said it. But oh yeah, now that my memory is getting better as time goes on, I guess I didn't say it. I think Malaya did. And guess what? That DT, she's saying it rather fast, right? So all I see is a projection towards Malaya from Daniel. And I think that the truth will lie, myself, in my opinion, within that Daniel is just deflecting from the truth of what happened to Jack and Lily that way himself, because I do believe myself that Daniel has shown that why would you lie in the sake of 2 children missing? Why would you do that? Well, it goes back to the typical thing, right? You're lying because you have involvement. I mean, that's just the way it is when you haven't, like, he's lied so many times and so many mysteries. Like, you can't stack shit that high. Well, you can, because Daniel has been able to, and then we see all the messages like that Daniel has put out himself, to Taylor, about that the other children are saying that he abused Jack and Lily, and he literally was stupid enough to put that out. He's stupid enough to tell us about Reddy and the canine dog there, and about children, 2 children don't disappear, and we don't really believe you. Janie about Daniel about that your Thursday timeline type of thing, and about Janie as well. Like, Janie, we don't really believe you. Why is that? Right, because it's just a bunch of horse shit in my face, in my eyes. And yeah, so to me, it's just like how can you keep stacking this stuff, right? Yeah, it's turned ridiculous because we've never seen a stepfather really just try to win over social media with the thing was that his inconsistency started coming through, his BS, the fact that Haley planted the blanket, that the family and everything is directed that way. Well, we all know that when Daniel directs this way, you look at Daniel, because all he's doing is taking everybody else, the neighbor, Brad, Malaya's family members, and he just keeps directing it, and then of course you got Janie going, like my son's a good son type of thing. He did everything for Jack and Lily. Yes, he cooked them dinner, and all that crap, whatever. So I'm just waiting myself that RCMP bring us the answers that we need for Jack and Lily, but that's going to take whatever information they need to proceed along the way. And in the meantime, these poor 2 children, like I said, are the victims in all of this. Not them. Not them. They're not victims. No. Jack and Lily are the victims here. Yeah. Anyway, so let's see. I'm going to get off here right quick. Let's see. Robin says, I think here, let me put up Jack and Lily's poster. And yes, the Joker's supposed to be Daniel and Derwood. Basically the Joker on the thumbnail. I think that Malaya tried to call her mom at 8:30 to tell her what was going on, and Daniel caught her. And that could have been, right? Maybe he held her down. And type of thing. And maybe that's why the interview was so strange as it was. Who knows? That's the thing, is we don't know that part, right? All we're hearing is through Daniel's lens. And, the information that's getting put out by the Globe and Mail, and articles, CBC and CBC National, the RCMP, the documents and stuff like that, right? And other than that, really, most of the lens is through Daniel. And then, of course, we have, some through Darren, of course, and Haley, and Malaya through text messages, through Belinda through text messages between her and Malaya, and we just try to take that and just try to get an understanding, because we know something's amiss. It's just a matter of the truth of it all coming out, right? But so with Malaya not really saying much, even though she's done a few things, but I just believe that something happened to the children, and that the 3 people on the property have the answers. And that's how I see it. But anyways, Robin, could be. Is there somebody I need to block? Anybody on there? So I just think that Janie's thing is BS. I'm trying to remember a couple more things. It was a long call there. I don't know. I don't know. Thank you. Nice to see you, Badettes. I'd really reconsider moving to Pictou County there, but I get it. Yeah. Well, that's the reason why we're here, right? Jack and Lily need the answers. You know, to me, fuck all the people that try to distract from that with bullshit and whatever. Focus back on why we're truly here, Jack and Lily, and stuff like that. I just don't have patience for a bunch of drama and bullshit at all. It's just irrelevant, most of that shit to me. It's just Jack and Lily, you know. We're not going to be the ones to solve the case. Maybe somebody out there has some answers that they can give and stuff like that. And I saw somewhere up above, I remember saying that the comment said something like, Belinda told me that the conversation between Patty and Derwood was irrelevant. Again, I don't know what's relevant to them or not relevant to them. Somebody asked me to send them in, and I did, my conversations that they hadn't been sent in, but who knows? I don't know, because every time I turn around, there's a different name. There's John, there's just different names. Bottom line is again, anyone that has important information. But according to Darren, I mean, they don't need any more tips. According to Darren, that they've already figured it out. And honestly, I believe that they have. I believe honestly, but I think that they need that again, the strong evidence to back up what they're doing behind the scenes, right? Again, $150,000 reward. It's just unrealistic to think. I mean, we'll put it at a very, very low rate, but it's unrealistic to think that after 8.5 months, nobody has turned on, say, Malaya and her family for hiding these children on a reserve, and that somebody on the reserve, wouldn't, you know what I mean? Kate, somebody would have come out. Do you understand this? Somebody would have come out to literally either A, try to claim a reward, let's just say, B, sometimes there's a lot of people that just want to do the right thing and that they have knowledge. None of this has happened. That's why it's very unrealistic that these two children are alive and hidden somewhere. It just is, right? But no matter what, we'll always hold out hope that there's something plausible that could have happened like that, regardless, because that would be the best scenario if the children are alive. But it's just not living in the land of realistic, really. It's more hopeful and wishful because you want it to be. Why would anyone want to see some harm come to two children? It's disgusting. It's sad to even think that people harm children or would do sadistic shit, but they do. And most of them are their own parents or step-parent or the ex. We just saw that in the Tepe case, kind of. But it's just sick and twisted that people would harm. So I can't relate to anyone that would even in their brain look at a child and wish to harm that child, And if it was an accident, like let's say an accident happened, then why wouldn't you reach out to 911? If something is an accident, why would you try to say cover it up, right? So that doesn't make sense. But people do the fucked up things, to typically save their own asses and stuff like that. And that to me is revolting. But that's why we sit here to me 8.5 months later, not because they're hidden somewhere, in somebody's freaking basement and stuff like that, and that nobody's come forward. It's not realistic. And I like to live in the land of what is realistic. And that's how cases typically flow. But to watch what Daniel has done is uncommon, to watch something like that. Darren and Daniel they themselves have turned this into a circus act. They can't even keep a straight line of a story. It twists and turns depending on the month, day, whatever information all of a sudden, and stuff like that. Like, when did Darren, remember when he said, I know exactly where they are. I'm not saying anything to RCMP, because I know they're being taken care of. So this is where I can understand where people are side-eyeing Darren. But I personally don't believe he has anything to do with the disappearance of Jack and Lily at all. I just think that his conclusion is wrong, and I have the right to think that and say that. If it is right, I'll be a monkey's uncle. But I just don't see it. It's not how these cases typically go. And I would love for someone to show me a case where this much fucked up shit has happened and you got bullshit going on, and nobody's come forward, and that there's other cases like this out there. No, this one takes the top for Canada, because Daniel's turned it into a circus, his BS. Malaya, sorry, your BS as well on there, your actions and stuff like that. And that's what's created this case. Now, drama keeps cases alive. I understand that. It sucks, but it's true. But there's tons of cases out there where people only wish that, this type of coverage would amp up for their missing child and stuff like that. So there's a lot of creators out there still covering this case, and, it was dwindling for a bit, but then it got picked up more so again, and stuff like that. So appreciation to all the creators that just genuinely want to fight for answers for Jack and Lily out there. And I think I kind of talk with a bunch of like good creators, ones that really in their heart of hearts, just, follow this case, other cases perhaps, just for the genuineness of doing it from their hearts because they care. I agree with no sightings. $1 million question. What happened after Dollarama? Absolutely. I think there's a lot to be said, reading between the lines of the wording, what Reddy said to Daniel. And Daniel's just like, I'm sorry, but I want to class him as one of the most dumbest fuckers that I've ever witnessed to try to claim his innocence and look as guilty as fuck, So I know, Melissa always says this, right? What does she say exactly? Something like, if he's innocent, he's the most guiltiest fucking innocent person ever. And, it could be still true. I think it's highly unlikely, but it still could be true because we don't know. I'm a little behind for sure, Sonny. Being soft-spoken and not accusatory worked to keep him. Yeah, that was the whole point of it is, and that goes really for anyone. Well, there's a difference there. Talking, say, to Belinda, right? That's just with genuineness, have conversations, right? Darren, I didn't know Darren per se, but the whole point of that is I just wanted to get out as much information because obviously, this is towards the beginning of the case, right? And all of a sudden, he comes into the true crime spot, starts talking on Dolly there and stuff like that. And I just wanted him to give him his space to say whatever he wanted to me, because that's all I'm looking for was just information, right? So it's like when I talk to Haley, that's just genuine conversation, right? It's not like I don't mean her have the conversation. So it's not like I'm sitting there, oh, okay, with Darren, it was bit different, absolutely, because I was just letting him say whatever he wanted to tell me, giving him that rope of talking. It wasn't to try to hang him or anything like that. It was just simply like catch more bees with honey. And if somebody wants to talk and Darren's a talker, you just want to get out as much information as they're willing to give, and so yeah, so patience. I have a lot of patience when it comes to, you guys know that. And then I don't have patience for other bullshit as well. But yeah, so you just kind of go with the flow of the conversation and, kind of agree sometimes, even if you're not agreeing, but you're just agreeing, just to, get him to still put out his thoughts. And that exactly worked in a sense. I hate to say it because it's not like a game, but yet you're just trying to let them speak and say whatever they want to. So that's why, you just heard a lot of on stuff like that. I mean, I'd be a fool if I just didn't listen to what he was wanting to say. Whether there's like anything enlightening to you guys in some of this, I think that there is. But it's out there now, so big deal. You know what? Darren wants to be pissy and shit like that. Don't care anymore. He's done enough threats to other people and said enough shit. He literally said I could play both conversations. But besides the fact, I said I would keep like what was his name? Not John, but what was his name again? The other guy he said was major crimes, listening in on phone calls. And I was just like, you know what? Fuck it. At this point, fuck it. You guys heard whatever he wanted to say there. Yeah. This case is the worst, the manure spreader crapper ever. Yeah. And it's sad. Like, that's the whole point, is that it's sad that these two children that are on your screen have to deal with these fucktards, had to even live in that space. It's just sad. Jack and Lily, like, it's just sad you have to cover cases like this, but what's sad is looking at two faces that should still be around, and yet where's the fight too much for Jack and Lily, especially from the Brooks Murray side and stuff like that. It's just so much. Somebody's cooking. Smell it. But there's just so much bullshit to this. And it's just heartbreaking, knowing that Belinda has to deal with this, the family members that want answers, but still, out of all this, Belinda's been the strongest person out there for being a voice for Jack and Lily. And Daniel claims that he is, but sorry, Daniel, I'm a little bit biased on your information, considering you were on the property when the children disappeared. Belinda's in it for the genuine reasons of just trying to find answers about what happened to her grandbabies. I mean, these are her son's children, Oh, don't forget to sub to American Justice, Melissa. It's free and help a gal hit 500. So yeah, because once you hit 500, then you're at least allowed to do certain things on YouTube and stuff like that. Just the facts, yes, because they had MBM, Jack and Lily's, from toothbrushes. Right. I always, one of the biggest things with this case has always been that blanket, that lying bugger about the blanket, trying to portray that Haley. That is so ridiculous. That's, it's, I don't know, between the two stories of Malaya putting in the garbage, Daniel putting it, in the garbage, Janie seeing she saw Daniel put it in the garbage, and then Daniel portrays like there's this freaking hole, right? And DT, like fucking what, a bear got in there or something, like this hole. Like, so if it's in the garbage, right, and Janie sees him put it into the garbage and don't overstuff that thing, wouldn't that blanket then be at the very top of the bag and not the very bottom of the bag, this clear bag, but yeah, there's a hole, and Daniel put 2 + 2 together, and took a recording, because it just dawned on him, like, wait, isn't that the blanket that we just put away? And again, I'm pretty sure that Malay is probably the one that said that the blanket was on the rail, and then Daniel was like, you see, so Cheryl and Haley or whatever it was, see, that just shows you that they knew that. So they must have, while everyone's there searching, that they must have planted the blanket. Well, dickhead, why do you think that you were called in? Because evidence came back, and start asking you again about the whole blankety blanket shit, and stuff like that, So Daniel's been his own worst enemy. So it's not going to be surprising if I ever see the day that, oops, a couple people or someone's been charged with the disappearance of Jack and Lily. Because like I said, I think we're just getting fed a bunch of bullshit from that end. And we're not going to know the gist of the truth, like the truth till obviously charges, hopefully come at some point here. Sonny, I think no, Kim, I think you're totally wrong on this one. Sonny, did you not hear what Darren said about Janie? Basically pew pew, like, I'm more scared of Janie. Okay, like, trust me, I think you're wrong. I don't think she's scared of her son. It's kind of like, I think that Daniel has Janie's personality and that they probably clash. But no. I think you're wrong on this one. Janie isn't talking because she's scared. I think Janie is. Oh, okay. Maybe I read that wrong. I was thinking about Daniel. Sonny, I think Janie isn't talking because she's scared. Scared of what? Scared of getting caught in her lies? I don't know. I was thinking for some reason that you were saying that she was scared of Daniel. I'm like, no. Janie definitely has vocal chops when she needs to. 2 hours and 37 minutes listening to that fucking wretched voice. Janie isn't right. She's enjoying her peace and quiet. She probably, I'm cooking, but didn't know you could smell. Ha ha ha. Why would Malaya hide Jack and Lily? It's right. It's nonsensical, right? It would make more sense. She would hide Meadow, right? Again, it's like taking, the full circle and trying to build the puzzle pieces off of it for the last 8.5 months. And the more it's gone on, the more BS we see, the more bullcrap. And the puzzle pieces seem to be all kind of coming into place. I mean, again, in the article, RCMP, they have a picture, that has happened. I'm very sure that RCMP absolutely know it. It's just the evidence. It's just needing that evidence. You get a kick at the bucket. You're not going to risk it not having the proper evidence. But what that evidence is, I guess truly only they know what it is. I still feel like it's, definitely would be bodies of Jack and Lily. Sad to say that, but that would be reality. And, something, because they have to be able to link, right, to prove. So, I think that the data, the digital data, certain parts are very scarce because it's about linking, having that direct linkage to whoever, say, harmed Jack and Lily, on top of course, obviously bodies, and then they could do, their testing and stuff like that. But they have to have that proof, so that proof, I just hope it comes someday soon for Jack and Lily, because in my opinion, this is going to turn criminal at some point once charges perhaps are laid there. Everyone in here kind of feel like this is definitely, everyone in here feel like they know the answers, and they just are waiting on, those pieces of the puzzle for charges to be brought forward. Does most people think that? I feel like the new video from your Australian creator today was quite telling about DM. Are you talking about, I'm not sure who you're talking about. Talking about Ninja? Not sure who you're talking about. Hopefully. Yeah. If so, I haven't watched it yet. Okay. Well, does anyone have anything that they want to ask before I leave here? Because I gotta work tomorrow. Um, I'm always Sundays to Thursdays, so I do have other things to do, like a load of laundry. Hey Daniel, can you take my laundry over to Patty's? I promise I'll wear it in the next 2 days. Maybe I'll just leave it there. Oh, Michelle, after dark. Well, Michelle off. Yes, Ninchi, don't want to offend with another. Oh, that's fine. I have no problem people saying other creators' names and stuff like that in here. Even if I don't like them, I don't care if people say other creators. I'm not that way with this channel, okay? I don't care enough, type of thing. Michelle After Dark, I did see a bit of hers. She kind of played a little bit of, the clippings or whatever of mine from yesterday. I did see that one, but I haven't watched Ninchi on there. Yeah, I'll watch that in a bit and just see. You know what? I do like Ninchi. Like, I think that she's a very wise, and she obviously to me has some sort of job that is profiling, something like she obviously reminds me of Alexa, the profiling criminal expert type of thing. So whatever, I know I don't know that she's really said what exactly her job entails, but obviously she's got a very good read on a lot of things. And there's some things that she does get wrong, for sure, when she's sometimes bringing up things from this channel, when she has talked about things, kind of like Haley's interview. That was simply about those recordings. It wasn't about other information, to ask a question sentence. So I didn't miss any boat on her live because I already had those answers myself. But that one was simply about those clips that DT dropped and that was going around, and sharing. I think Ninchi, she has a lot of great, definitely great intelligence when it comes to foresight, or those reasons why people are doing stuff. She's very good at that, and I love that part. I do like, because although I might think a lot of things and feel that same way, I'm not necessarily so great with my words like that, the way that Ninchi's talking. And obviously, as much as a people and aura person and vibes and all that shit, but when it comes to explaining kind of stuff like that, well, whoops, I keep hitting my mic. Ninchi's very good at reading a lot of the things for what they are. So I do appreciate her channel, definitely, for that stuff. I appreciate, like I said, at the end of the day, there's a group of us, content creators, Justin, Clutch and Pearls, Nova, Shenanigans, Daphne, Charmaine, AJ, which is Melissa, and stuff like that. And I feel like this is like a good core group of people that are truly invested. And not to say that there isn't the other ones, okay, but it's a group that we talk through type of idea, because again, the goal is to bring awareness for Jack and Lily, to maybe bounce off, of course, thoughts and ideas, and stuff like that. And I think that that's really important, because, it takes many people to try to put sometimes puzzle pieces together. Someone might have certain information, perhaps, that maybe I never seen before and stuff like that, because the bottom line is you're just truly trying to find answers for Jack and Lily. So I want to say to that personal group, thank you guys for all you're doing to bring awareness for Jack and Lily. Let's see here. Ninchi thought you and Shar were Daniel's supporters. Yeah, I remember when she got that totally wrong. I think I think it was more Charmaine though that she was kind of alluding to on that one, which was totally off base for that. Again, you catch more bees with honey, right? Charmaine has her way of doing her channel. I have my way. Melissa will have her way and stuff like that. But Charmaine calls herself Switzerland, right? It really just becomes like when it comes to people, once I'm done with you, and you become a fuckface to me, I couldn't care less about you anymore. I don't give a shit what information you have. I just don't give a fuck about that shit. I'm not kind of one of these middle ground people like Switzerland. It's kind of like, there's certain things you do, with certain people, but I have to be who I am. And when I feel like BS is going on and lying, like with Daniel, I could have sat there and soaked that, man. I mean, I remember when I brought up his fishing pictures and stuff like that to get Daniel kind of to like talk to me again back months ago and stuff like that. And like hook, line, and sinker he did, because that all you have to do is stroke his ego to get him to talk to you and stuff like that. So, I did stuff like that. But once I was to the point of, dude, I'm just so over your bullshit. I don't give two fucks what you say anymore. He just became useless information to me. Maybe to someone else, he was still a gem, to try to get information from and stuff like that. For me personally, that's when I can't not be sunny in a sense, right? If I feel like someone's, I mean, maybe I should be better at that stuff, but I don't have it in me to truly try to be fake, to try to get someone to talk. But with Daniel, with him, and then he wrote me that whole fucking ass post. Remember that freaking post ass and shit like that? And it was just like, dude, yeah, okay, keep, the more he talks, the more he just incriminates himself as a liar in a sense. And so it's just like, yeah. And then after a point, you're just like, okay, like my pile is this high of you now, and now I'm just done with your bullshit and stuff like that. And Daniel always tried to get this channel to project him in a better light, but I saw through his BS, played into it at times, fuck you at times type of idea. Even with the whole Taylor thing, I remember him sending me a message when I was at work on my break, and I remember him trying to warn me that somebody's made an account that's going to try to, take away his reputation. And the next thing later that day, it becomes about the Taylor messages, right? Because then I was talking with Taylor and I was like, oh, yeah. And then Daniel tries to fucking backtrack on this shit and, and that she's fucked up and, and all this stuff. And then it's just like, oh, Daniel. Your grave is at least, fucking 100 feet under what you've done to yourself publicly within this case, regardless of Jack and Lily. You have literally shown just to be a big douchebag liar, and that you're a narcissistic personality, in my opinion, absolutely full of yourself, and you can give some credit, I'm sure, to Janie for this personality that Daniel has, because, Janie is like, she's not the mother that I'd ever fucking want to have. I'll tell you that much. Dog treats and cigarettes. A very interesting comment from Derwood on Michelle After Dark. Yeah. What did Derwood have to say? I'm sure he asked. Like, Derwood cannot shut up, right? Like I said. He just can't. He can't stop. Like, I mean, at what point I mean, Daniel's trying to claim that he's not talking because it's going to harm his case for, custody and stuff of Meadow, and his lawyer told him to shut the fuck up, basically, and stuff like that. Daniel still is watching everything. Don't get us wrong, right? I mean, he might not be as vocal, and he certainly is probably still talking to certain people behind the scenes. Sure of that crap. But, at what point, Darren, do you just kind of, back down and take your rage about content creators and stuff like that, instead of all this BS, right? Why don't you just shut the fuck up, in a sense, and worry about just Jack and Lily like your goal is? Why are you worrying so much about what content creators are doing or saying and stuff like that, Misha, I thought, oh, okay. No problem. Let's see. Hold on. Let's 1 sec. Let's go to Michelle After Dark just for humor's sakes on this. 1 sec. I just kind of not curious. Well, kind of, I guess. I just want to see what BS kind of comes out of his mouth. I don't know. Maybe it's actually not BS, but we'll see. It's on the videos. Derwood comes clean. Okay. Let's see. Where's the comments? Oh. Let's see if I can see it. 1 sec, just like a lot of comments here. Is it underneath of his own comment, or did he comment underneath somebody else's comment? Do you know? Just trying to take a quick boo here. There are cops back there. Let's see here. Dang, so many comments. Oh, Derwood. Oh, okay. Derwood O'Grady's 4666. Oh, let's see. I'll just pull it up and show you guys as well. Share screen. Okay. Let's see what he had to say here. Make screen bigger. Okay, so right here. So Daniel Martell is guilty of other crimes. So is Malaya. I defended Daniel and Malaya against murder accusations because there is no murder. Neglect, abuse, and drug-related crimes, yes. Yes, they will have to answer for a lot. I believe Jack and Lily were removed for their safety. And I believe the people who did it deserve a lot of credit for stepping up. See, and this is where some people would probably say, well, are you talking about yourself there, Derwood? Did you step in and, help, Patty in her quest to, protect these children? I believe Meadow was left behind because no one had the authority to take her because she didn't have First Nation status. Daniel wouldn't sign off giving her status. I believe Malaya thought she could get the children back whenever she wanted, but it never worked out for her. She thought the people who intervened were doing her a personal favor, but found out that they genuinely concerned for the children and judged her as an unfit mother. There's a lot of indications and circumstantial evidence to support what I believe. Of course, if you're like much of the true crime podcasters, you will twist what I am saying to suit your own theories and purposes, probably subs, views, and dollars. He always throws that in there, doesn't he? Suggest you be truthful and rely on what you know, not what you think might have happened. Really? Okay. I'm here and personally know these people. You don't. These children have had a really raw deal. I would love to see them alive. And I would see, so now he's saying, though, I would love to see them alive. So he's unsure about what he's saying here because he said, I would love. That means that you don't know, but that you would love. Well, I think we all would love to see Jack and Lily alive. We would love for that to happen in a New York second. So I would love to see them alive and be well cared for. And from what I found, I believe that they are. So he's not certain. He just believes, right? Based on his information. And that part's fine, obviously. I'm here and personally know these people. You don't. These children, oh wait, I already read that part. Anything else other than the truth and two innocent children. I want them alive, right? We all do. And to be with family that loves them and protects them. You will believe I'm decent or not, but in the end, I know who and what I am, and I'm good with myself and Jesus. That's all, by the way. I'm getting legal advice for the slander and defamation damages on suing many podcasters and even YouTube with the assistance of a cyber scan section of the Department of Justice. They are all monitoring videos posted, gathering evidence for charges. So let's hope the children show up safe, and then I will hope that payback for liars is going to be real. Oh, a real bitch. So, in saying that, wait, who's about the dollars and stuff and the slander? Is that why Darren took down his post when he was slandering, calling shenanigans like a horse-faced bitch or something like that? Or, when he's slandering everyone left, right, and center. The thing about that part, Darren, is, I mean, honestly, that's the pot calling the kettle black now, isn't it? Is that people would have screenshotted. People have screenshotted all your slander towards podcasters and stuff like that. So, I mean, that's fucking, I might right now be a laughing hyena saying good fucking luck, on your quest to try to prove that shit. When honestly, the person that does the biggest slandering is Darren himself. So that's kind of comical, but whatever. Okay. So besides that crap, again, obviously, 1 second, my camera went out of focus. Just give me a second here. I leaned forward. Come on, camera. I can hate this camera for that. Oh, I think I came back. I must watch. Thank you. Just 1000% ironclad. It's actually quite comical. Vaping my face off right now. I don't think so. I don't know. I don't think so, though. Yeah. So to me, that's just actually like really comical and stuff like that. Again, it's kind of like Daniel. He's his own worst demise and stuff like that. Now, as for Jack and Lily, again, absolutely. Would we love for this miracle to have happened, that they're hidden somewhere, and all this stuff? Absolutely. Let's make a miracle happen then, Darren, right? I'll let you be in charge of that miracle. How about them apples? Will that make you happy? So anyways, yeah, we would love that. But I mean, again, but just going on the basis of, again, typical cases where something like this happens, 2 children. Now, this is 2 children, right? Now, yeah, we do see cases with 2 children, all of a sudden go missing, like in the States and stuff like that, more so. Usually it's 1. But yeah, so it just falls within to the, again, financial struggles, relationship, going on, Malaya wanting to leave him and stuff like that. So it's not falling out of par with the normalcy versus the miracle that the children are still alive and that nobody's contacted the RCMP, nobody's witnessed these kids and all that stuff. You know, I mean, at one point you said that they're 100% alive and you know who has them, and thank those people. Now it's, I believe, you know, and stuff like that. So again, forever changing thoughts, stories, whatever, and whatever. Anyways, Sunny, your hair color is beautiful. Thank you. Well, it's better than gray, isn't it? I mean, it gets its gray roots coming in, but thanks. Broke Stacker. I don't know what Broke Stacker. When are you coming back on after this? Not sure. To be honest on that one, Belinda. Maybe tomorrow, maybe not. What do I work tomorrow? Maybe. It depends. It depends. Yeah, I honestly, you know, I played you the clips. As for like ever looking at Derwood's Facebook and shit like that, I don't even waste my time, you know. Because usually when Darren's leaving a post, it's a big ignorant ass post about podcasters, about how we're just raking in all these dollars, you know, off of children and stuff like that. And again, you know, he's the innocent victim here. Obviously those beautiful haikus he writes about horse face bitch and stuff like that. So, and then he takes it down acting like it doesn't exist. Unfortunately, it does exist in screenshots, all of them, you know. So it's so stupid. CBS has a professional duty to protect these and all their children. They failed these beautiful babies. Okay. Is there how many people in here? Can I just ask, and just honestly, how many people in here believe that the children are hidden somewhere? How many? One, if you believe they're alive somewhere still. Simple as that. One, if you believe that they're alive, and two, if you don't. Is there, you know, a couple people in here that are ones and believe that Jack and Lily are alive? Thanks, Shannon. Appreciate that. Hidden in the Fog is hiding with Derwood on YouTube. Just posted. Yeah. Oh, she can do whatever she wants. I mean, hey, if Derwood wants to go out there, you know, like I said, he just making his rounds, right? Just making his rounds and stuff like that. Little bit. You're a one. Yeah, me, as you know, one. Yep, Tracy. I know you're a one. On there too. Unfortunately, yeah, I mean, too. Unfortunately, is exactly it. Even I have Dirtwoods and something. Is I mean, he's good at doing that. To be honest with you, you know, and then he wonders why, you know, how. You know, it's like I said, it's like when you're slewing shit, and then when the shit comes back to you, you're like, what? You know, why am I getting treated so horribly? Gail thinks one. Absolutely. Two, but I wish it was one. Right. On there. Tinker. Yeah. One. You know. Yeah. Well, you know, all we can do is hope and pray for that, regardless of whatever answer may come out through all of this, is that answers simply come out, and that, you know, the case moves on to, you know, a further step, you know. Absolutely. I would love to see these two beautiful children alive. Absolutely. Any case, I would love, you know. It's just that it's just such a low percentage. Praying it's one. Yeah. Yep, she's good. Honestly, what the fuck could they have disappeared without a trace? Absolutely. My daughter has autism, I can assure you. There would be something to see if they wandered off. Yep, justice for Jack and Lily. Okay, guys. It's almost 7 o'clock. It's been a 3-hour live, it looks like, going on here. Again, if you guys haven't hit the like and the share for Jack and Lily, please do. Bless everyone that is really trying and out there, to find out, and wish for answers for Jack and Lily. It's a hard case, sad case to follow for sure, with its, berserker weird shit going on with it all and stuff like that. But, beyond all the weird shit of it, again, it's going to be down that straight and narrow. I mean, if this case ever turns out to be that these kids have been hidden somewhere, this will be the biggest fucking news miracle, in history of a case. I'll tell you that much right now. But I'm still going to stick with, my thoughts about it all. And, and then that piece in the corner, hoping that most of us are wrong, but realistically, chances are we're not. Anyways, guys, he's I mean, his broke ass is basically like, I'm gonna sue you guys all for slander. That's just the most ridiculous thing ever coming from Darren to say something like that. I got everyone recording and everyone should be shitting their bricks and stuff like that. And, yet he's fucking, I mean, how many people has he fucking slandered? Really, truly, like himself, true slandering of people and stuff like that. So anyways, whatever. He's ridiculous that way, but whatever. So anyways, you guys have a good night. Nice to see you guys again. Prayers for Jack and Lily. Again, Belinda, I love you very much on all this. And, like I said, you're a warrior in all this. Okay, guys, good night. I'm just going to play out the Jack and Lily video tribute for them. Poor babies, poor babies, poor babies. And I truthfully hope that that Meadow gets put in, when all said and done, that Meadow is properly placed where she belongs, in a home that is loving, caring, nurturing, and has the chance to grow up with all that love around her.
In the woods where shadows lay, Jack and Lily went to play. On a rainy May afternoon, now we whisper hope soft too. Echoes of laughter fill the air, but where are they? We stand in prayer. Oh, Jack and Lily, where have you gone? We'll hold on tight through this endless dawn. In our hearts forever you'll stay. With every prayer we send your way. Hundreds gathered, hearts so strong, searching deep where they belong. Through the trees and storms they roam, wishing every child came home. Fatigued but fierce they won't give in. For every soul we search within. Oh, Jack and Lily, where have you gone? We'll hold on tight through this endless dawn. In our hearts forever you'll stay. With every prayer we send away.
Merry Christmas, Tinker.
We'll keep the hope alive today. the silence, love will lead the way.
Good night, everybody. Have a great night.
Please help bring us home.